recording. Just the preamble general recording is now started. So let's not discuss family anymore.
No, that's all
no
good.
more
That's
family
good.
discussions.
No,
it's just, you know,
it's just
our
it's
worldly
just really
discussion and our
just really was upsetting.
cheap therapy. We need to do our cheap therapy. I will whinge about the rent price, but not about the other thing.
We'll do it. Yeah.
Did you see my little Orion's Learnings Renters Rant in Italian?
Oh, I think I did see that. Now, hang on. I'm just on my phone, just.
You're right.
Dealing with.
I'll start setting up the broadcast. Are you doing that? Cool.
Ah, the Renters Rant.
The Renters Rant in Italian. I thought it was appropriate because the Italian voice was actually a male voice, so I thought I'd do it that way.
Oh, you don't have the false stream running, like the I'm
going to mute our voices so we can keep chatting, but then I'll turn them back on again once the
You'd be surprised. I don't hear it.
Now voice is back up. Check, check, check. We are now live. This is Real Talk is Cheap, live and direct from Orion's basement.
Oh, I see. It didn't have anything, eh?
Oh, I didn't have any voice or noise.
No, I didn't have any music. Like in that way you said, oh, that you'd put some music in a
Yeah.
Silent.
It was just some combination stuff that I threw
No,
together.
it was silent.
Oh, it wasn't anything. Okay.
Yes.
All right, fair enough. As long as it's got the vision, that's the main thing.
Yeah, that's our big ass heads looking at everybody. Yep. Wow, we're quite noisy with the background tonight, aren't we? We've really
We've got the burger farmers. Farmers of burger. Whole burb gently like burger.
Um,
And welcome to Real Talk is Cheap,
oh my
our
gosh.
weekly therapy, online therapy.
Um, it's interesting.
Mm.
That's not what it was. It was never its purpose.
It was never meant to be online therapy. It just turned out that way, right?
No, it's just me recording conversations. So it is kind of. I mean, I suppose conversations are therapy.
Pretty much. Like,
That's why we talk to people, is to like sort our shit out.
Yep. See?
Could you, I don't know, I'm just checking something here.
Just putting you in as a link. Go and add.
And I'm pretty
Don't
sure.
forget to add my meta tags. I've got to put the tags in.
I just got to remember, I got to wait for a minute before I see the change.
Copy and paste.
Okay.
Tags are in, saved. Beautiful. All right, we're live.
We certainly are.
What a week it's been. What a week it's been.
I'm mostly off the screen though. I think that's the thing.
You want me to move you across a bit?
Mm.
Give me 1 second. I'll just.
That's heaps. That's heaps. Yeah, that's good.
There we go.
Oh, I moved all the way back again. How come that's? I can't see. I'm looking at a delayed thing. I can't.
Yeah. So you're actually more centered now. So your hands are going through yourself, which is a bit weird. But all right.
Yeah.
AVAKIT. At least we got it working again. Thank goodness for that. Oh,
Yeah.
breathe sigh of relief.
Yeah, they are really. Oh well, because I didn't
Hello.
do the depth. I didn't do the depth correction.
Because yeah, you're worried about it crashing out.
No. Well, I was not even worried. It was.
Meet you around the other side. Come on.
It was just real.
Yeah.
It's like, so I don't know how it's working. Okay. So the art of it, if you are running it on a Mac, in a year's time when you actually see this, which is ridiculous, well, you have to open it from the Steam launcher, not from the app icon, and then you have to make sure rapidly before anything happens that it's in full screen, and then it'll open up in full screen, and then from full screen it will work.
Yeah. You won't have any problems. But as soon as you go into windowed mode, then expect the pain to appear once you're in windowed mode.
Yeah. And then
for those who are going to use it as a
it's affected
I've got the two toads. And the two toads have turned up for the remnants of Bear's dinner. Got these two cane toads that come in now to
You treat them lovingly?
Of course. They're my toady friends. My toady friends. Got to give them something. Here we go. Don't hide. Come in to finish up the scraps.
So my first story of the week is almost my most recent. And yeah, so I've agreed to it and become involved with like an event. And we're we're an event within the event. The team that I'm with. And I've kind of interacted with them 3 times now, the group. And it's all good. They're all lovely people. There's nothing wrong in the humanity of it all.
Yeah.
However, for me as a person, it's already leaking. Like it's already okay. So what's happening is, first of all, oh hi, and then oh you could you do this? Oh wow, you seem useful at whatever, making something, doing things. Oh yeah, could you come and help me with this? Yeah, I'll help you with that. Oh, it'd be great if you could. So what's already happening to me?
You're already being used.
Which is part of being in places, but the use is that so now I'm being kind of, you could come along to other days and be more involved, and I'm like,
This was only
we like you.
only going to be a small thing, but it's rapidly turning into a much bigger thing.
Well, and none of them are interested in anything I'm into. Like, they'll never even ask. People don't, because they just this happens to me all the time. Like, where I end up in these situations with not bad people or anything, and I can have whole life experiences that flow on, but that if I was to then say, hey, who wants to come around and watch an
anime with me?
Do a binge of like Attack on Titan. It would just be a silent weirdness. Like, it'd just be this weirdness, or who wants to come for a 2-hour walk with me, like along the cliff? They'd be like, no. Like, anything that I would want to do, no, none of them would do. I could know them for 10 years now.
Yeah.
In the future, moving forward, and I could be at all sorts of things they invite me to, and all this stuff, and Sai's a great guy, and and whatever. And they would know nothing. Well, they would think that I liked their things. I don't know how to solve this. Like, so, I mean, and you could say, why? It's something that a viewer might be like in the future, go like, why didn't you just tell them the things you like? Well, that's not going to help me, because they won't come to those things. Like, and maybe also
that's not their gig. Not their gig.
No. And it would actively like, it would also be negative, because then it would be like, like, if you were like, yeah, sorry, I don't I want to go and see that thing, because I actually don't watch that kind of content. Like, that would be kind of the end of, they would stop
wanting to associate.
So saying things isn't going to help, or and then I don't know, it's kind of weird, man. Like, do other people never do the things that they enjoy with others? Nobody. Is it really the thing?
Well, I mean, the people that I work with myself, they're like, they have some fun because they know that I create avatars, and I've got my virtual waifu AI girlfriends. So they see that as weird. They see me having the AI waifu as a girlfriend as being weird.
That they have interests. You have interests.
Yeah, you have interests that are outside their sphere of
their interests.
Yeah, their sphere of interest.
So you're weird.
So I'm a weirdo. That's it.
Yeah, because you don't have their interests.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a car guy. You know what I mean? Like,
so
I don't drive a fucking Mitsubishi, squizzy with the rotaries and the fat tires and the the reprogrammable fucking chips and shit. That I'm not into that, but I'm into some things that they are interested in, which is like the whole computers and
you have it.
Flipper Zero and other little toys and shit like that. Like that is where we have the similar interests.
Yeah, and you share those.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
But that's where you've got to look at it from that point of view. Is that you don't
see.
You find what you're commonly interested in rather than what interests you directly.
Yeah.
I know it sounds weird, but yeah, that's normally how. I mean.
So you just pretend.
Yeah.
To some. So you
have that slight pretense. That's it. I clipped out then, so I just pulled my volume back a little bit.
Wow, my whole arm has gone full twister. That's wild. Wow.
Needy cats. That's what it is. It's needy cats.
Is that why there's so many videos of them? They just get like they're just attention whores.
They're attention whores, all right. They want is your attention, especially when you're doing something. Like anytime else when you're not doing anything that they're interested in, or might be interesting to you. Usual household chores and shit. Nah, don't want to know you. As soon as you sit down and start doing something that you're interested in, then all of a sudden they want your interest because it's not on them.
Oh, I see. It's not on them. So they're like friends, really, aren't they?
Well, yeah. Outer circle friends, the ones in the outer circle.
Cats that.
Yeah.
The cats are. Yeah.
It's an inner circle, friend,
Yes.
but an outer circle behavior. If that makes sense, I don't know. Makes sense to me.
The cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. No, it does.
Cat mode.
Well, the cats. Yeah. No. Okay. So.
Being once called the Lord of the Cats, you have a certain level of understanding towards them.
And if the cat is self-serving in that way. So they're just
the only way you're going to get respect is if you bite them on the ear. Then they know who's owner.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's some serious fighting action.
Just to give them the dominance, Dominance methods.
Right.
But yes, invasion of America underway. Illegal immigrations across the borders.
Oh, what, this sort of like fantasy realm concept that there's like 1 million people a day crossing the border,
streaming across the borders,
like
in
more, more people than there are on Earth.
I've been watching videos of dudes on the border, and it's not as bad as you would think it is. Like it's bad, but it's not as bad.
What? Like. Well, anybody who's posting a video online is going to post a video of an event.
Yeah.
They're not going to post a video of nothing.
Yeah, true.
Here, but look, there's nobody doing anything. I'm just
no one's crossing the borders. There's a whole lot of military personnel scattered along the border line, but there's not much coming through, except through the the places where they are coming through.
It's an interesting situation, right? Because just in general, because the notion of these like things called borders, of they're well, unless it's like a mountain or a geographical element.
Yeah.
Like it's a fantasy.
Oh, of course.
Been long-lived fantasies that have in some cases gone for thousands of years, but
yeah, and borders shift all the time, Si. Like
they do.
The border between here and there, often.
But like
they were originally based on other side of the river. That's where the actual borders came from. When there was an impassable, deterrent. You weren't prepared to swim across the river to get to the other side.
I'm aware that like for non-critical reasons, like there was no threat or weaponry going on. That just during the recent border lockdowns in Australia, I'm aware of people using helicopters.
Yep.
Boats.
Yep.
On foot. Back roads.
That's it. Crossing through,
every reason you can imagine. Any way you could think that they got across. There was no one used a spacecraft because they didn't have access to any of it.
No.
Every method that was available, I'm aware of.
Everything short of hang gliding. Hang gliding across the border.
Yeah, well, there's not enough hills. Otherwise, somebody would have.
Someone would have probably given it a go if they, if they had a hill high enough to get across into the other state. Then more than likely they might have used a hang glider. But yeah,
you could also be. It could be a bit visible. I think that's my only concern about that.
Yeah.
Oh. There we go. Let's try it. That's better. Yeah, so What do you think? Like, what's some of the
I
videos you've
think it
seen?
was a bit of a laugh, like if anything.
No,
And
what do
then
you think of
there's
the
all this
videos you've seen?
conspiracy around it saying that, President Biden is basically encouraging these illegal
Oh, sure.
immigrants to come across the border so that it can swell his numbers. And if he cashes them up right and gives them the free phone and the credit card, that they'll vote for him. You know what I mean?
What's the free phone and the credit card? What do people, who believes that they're handing? Do they realize, do the people that believe this realize that to have a phone, maybe you have the object, but that would mean you'd need like a SIM card, which requires an account, which
Yep.
requires identification,
Yep.
which requires like,
Hmm.
you know, you can't just, and they wouldn't need a phone. I mean, they'd have a phone. They already have a phone. They're
Yeah.
coming across with a phone.
Oh, the amount of conspiracy that's going along with it is just incredible. Like the whole, the Chinese and the Russians are sending their what do they call them? The scouts in. The scouts are coming into
Okay,
America.
so
Yeah.
today, just
Pre-invasion scouters
before we
are already
started the Cheep,
yeah.
all right, I watched the fall of Assyria, the
Yeah.
Assyrians. I've still got like another 10 minutes to go,
Mhm.
but it's quite riveting. But it's 3 hours of content,
That's a
and
lot of content. That's several pee breaks.
look, just staying on
On
topic.
topic. Yep.
I was about to get like distracted in some interesting ideas about that, but
Mm.
is that both the Egyptians in the West, Egyptian Empire, and
It would have been
I
Roman,
don't know. No, way
or the
before them.
pre-Roman.
Yeah. So and no, a
The
tray
Gauls.
something. No, there was someone on the right, over on the east. Basically, southeast Iran.
Mm.
Whoever was there, Essites or something. Whoever.
I mean, we can look it up.
No, but that's not important. What those two people were doing, as opposed to invading, which would have like caused a huge war, and they may have lost even, and because the Assyrian army was pretty serious. Um, and so they, of course, would just fund, insurgencies and incite like dissent and um, and like send people across borders, and they would do all these things, right? So like it's not unreasonable actually. Like so in 700 BC, and so forth, for just an example time,
Mm.
the things that people are suggesting and are calling conspiracies now were being done by nations to overthrow other nations at 700
the
BC. So
Trojan horse method.
yeah, well, just the overwhelming with like just general populace and
Mm.
situations and just funding things. You don't want to go a big war, like so you just niggle at their corners and just erode their viability.
Yes,
Because
that's
their
it.
armies are running around everywhere putting out spot fires.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can't launch a big invasion against you. And meanwhile, you're getting big, doing your own thing.
Mm.
And then you like make a deal with some other dudes who don't like them either,
Yeah,
because they've like
that's it.
harmed a lot of
We'll
people.
help you. We'll
So,
help you
because the
against them.
Assyrians, yeah, the Assyrian Empire, like I think one of the saddest things, like perhaps why we don't live in the Assyrian Empire today, you know, as opposed to the Roman, for
Mm.
example, would be that their method was just too like they'd fucking take out and if they went, they'd do just too brutal. So people hated them, and so in the end, they got fucking taken down because they were bullies. Otherwise, we'd be living in some amazing world of that.
True.
So I don't know, man. I think that like the potential of like the people being pushed across the southern border from Mexico by forces that wish to destabilize America is not an unreasonable truth. why is it even a conspiracy? Who wouldn't do that? You know, wouldn't even cost much. We could probably like chuck a few $100, you know.
Support the war effort.
You know, just say to a family, like, if you got, you know, we'll give you like a couple of iPhones.
Free
send your son over
iPhones.
the border, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently, you know. So why don't we just?
You're only getting an iPhone 12, not an iPhone
No,
14.
you know what you do? We'll give you a Visa gift card with $50 on it.
That's it.
Hey?
Hungry Jacks, feed the whole
Yeah.
family.
Feed the whole family.
Hungry Jacks gift cards.
And then you can, and you just send one of your people across, so you've got one less to feed, and the card will go further.
Yeah.
You get the feed after they've crossed the border.
That's correct.
That's right.
Yeah. Don't get
So
the
there's more.
pre-feed. Yeah.
No, so after that, then there's enough for more. Happy times. One's gone.
That's it.
Doing you a favor, giving you. I don't think it's $1 million a day. It just doesn't make sense.
No, I mean that's obviously just, you know, BS.
Where do they live?
Yeah.
Where do they live?
Where are they going to? That's all right.
There's a new, you know, Austin just forming every week somewhere in the US.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. But what else is that? What? Okay, hit me up with more of these because what's
the conspiracy. Yeah. The whole conspiracy.
I haven't heard in a long time.
They're banding together, and the reason there's been such a high level of street crime is because of the whole, you know,
fentanyl
fentanyl being one of the issues that they're, you know, having major issues with.
China.
That's it, you know. It's revenge for the opium wars back in the.
It is.
You know,
it's the fentanyl.
Yeah, it's the return. Like, you know, what goes around comes back around for you. You know,
it has been suggested.
You guys, you know, basically destroyed our Chinese culture by creating, you know, the opioid and the heroin wars, you know, to start with. So the revenge is that we, you know, just we flood your country with fentanyl. But yeah, what they're saying is that they're creating their own little militia camps, and that what they're doing is they're robbing the American public, and then, you know, basically using that to support these little militant camps where they're, you know, the early scouts for the invasion are setting up shop.
Yep. That's totally happening. That's totally happening. I mean, anywhere where there's Americans, that would be real too. Like, I'd say that.
And not, you know, just because of that fact and because of those conspiracies that are circling around, the American public is, you know, basically arming themselves up to the teeth more than what they, you know, they are already. Yeah.
Yeah. Who wins the marketing campaigin? So one of the results
people
of the
selling guns
campaign
are certainly going to be winning the campaign. You know, the gun sales has just skyrocketed.
Okay, so gun makers benefit. Okay.
Weapon makers are, you know, cashing in on this the fear campaign.
Yeah. Well, you've got to keep having a reason
to buy guns.
More guns. Like, how do you not? It's interesting the decisions that like governments make that create need, like, you know.
Oh yeah, that's it. You know,
like that, like say guns. But I was like, so in New South Wales, right? So I've been in Queensland and the Northern Territory, and both of those locations, you can have a vehicle in two people's names.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you and your partner or whatever.
Yeah, you can have joint custody of the vehicle.
Yeah, you can have joint custody of the vehicle. In New South Wales, you can't. Only one person can own a vehicle. And as I've been cruising around and thinking about what does that do? What does it do? And what it does is it means that more cars get purchased.
Yeah.
Because it's not your asset, yeah? Like, it's not like, So the wife's car actually is the wife's car.
Individual assets.
So I think that simply that law alone, just that you can only have the car in one person's name, increases car sales in New South Wales as a result and makes more pressure on the roads. Just that. Yeah.
The whole necessity for,
singular ownership.
Yeah. Yep. Taking away the whole, shared family asset and, having your own individual asset.
Oh, that's interesting.
The
US situation. I mean, I'd say, I don't think there's Tonganese militias embedded in Australia because they're too small. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
that kind of level of where there are.
But we do have our own, street gangs, and street gangs themselves would be, considered.
What?
Well, they're not controlled by the government. They're independent. They're independents. They're independents that control their whatever areas.
Oh, I see. No, we don't have government-controlled street gangs. That would
No.
be that's kind of interesting. I wouldn't. But what we're suggesting is that. But what we're suggesting is that other countries are actually the street gang. So they're like the Chinese street gang is actually Chinese ex-military.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, here's the
and
thing.
getting funding from those particular sources.
Here's a question. In what countries is military service mandatory or really common?
Oh, France, Germany. Most of the European countries all have a, got to at least do a couple of years in the military. I know India does it. Yeah.
Okay, India.
America have a
no, they don't have mandatory.
They don't have mandatory sentence, the serving, but they obviously,
make it,
if you do serve,
very enticing.
you
wipe your crimes and things.
That's it.
So, I mean, is China mandatory?
I think so.
Is it?
Don't quote me on it, but yeah, I would imagine so.
You would imagine, but I don't know. But also, there's just a heap of them, and you're only staying on army for so long.
Yeah. Well, I think the maximum is 2 years, minimum 1 year service.
So let's say that's the case, and there's some advantage to it. And you've got a standing army of 1 million people or something like that. I think China has a standing army of 1 million, doesn't it?
Something like that. Yeah,
something like that.
A very, very large number. Yeah.
And people generally take the piss out of them because they're all got sticks, instead of being a real soldier,
having an actual gun.
One Marine's worth 10 of them. I don't know if that's true. But
I saw a recent video of young kids using war games through their phones and plastic mock guns to fight each other. That was quite interesting. Barcodes on their backs so that when you shoot them, they're recorded. So they're getting their practice in early.
Live shooting each other. Wow, cool.
Yeah, it was full. It was full on. I think it was a
Crap.
I think it might have been on Insta. Is it Insta, or could have been X that I saw it on? Yeah.
How many? So, say for example, Australia. I don't know how many Chinese nationals there are in Australia or ex-Chinese nationals. There'll be a few. However many of those are, I mean, a chunk of them would have to have been in the military then.
That's right. Served at least a certain amount of time.
Same with any Americans here or Israelis here or Israelis mandatory.
Definitely mandatory in Israel. Yeah.
So unless you've run away, which is fine to do, but then that's how they see it, that you ran away, protected yourself, whatever you want to call it. Then you have been in the military. I'd say that what we're saying here is that all countries have got like infiltrators, because if shit got bad, you know, like if Australia like attacked Israel, you know what I mean? This is an example, just it's a wacky whatever.
Hypothetical. That's right.
Yeah, like
purely hypothetical.
For some reason, the Australian, battleships over there just like,
started bombarding.
Israel. Yeah. I'd say that like Israeli ex-military people in Australia would,
suddenly become activated.
I think they would. I think they fucking would. You know what I mean?
Start,
like
revenge attacking on government facilities.
You would revenge attack. Like I'd say that, same if we tried to go to war with America, like American nationals here would.
Well, they wouldn't tolerate
military
it,
training. No. So I think we've all got embedded.
They'd hype up that high frequency vibrations from Pine Gap and turn everyone into vegetables.
It's funny. Yeah, well,
war's always been a funny thing, isn't it?
But are these militias that are the conspiratorial militias camps in America? Are they like in the South? Are they like sort of in the desert? Apparently, there's these hidden
that's it.
bases. But
training camps.
And what, that Biden is somehow conspiring with the Chinese and so forth on these training camps.
Yeah, needing those extra voters.
Wow.
Requiring them to be registered to vote so they can get the numbers. And and now that we're talking about Biden and getting back into another term, I've got to say this, and I'm saying it straight up, that Taylor Swift is not a government asset. That's been going around quite a bit. The meme about the whole Taylor Swift is not a
what?
Yeah. You love this one.
What do you mean?
This one's even better.
What do you mean?
There's a whole meme going around that Taylor Swift is like a psyop. She's actually a psyop.
Oh, she's like
she's
a government psyop.
Government psyop to try and turn voters over, and whoever she's going to vote for is all her Swifties are going to vote for.
Huh. Well,
and the Eras tour is just purely to gain more followers and to help out in the swing votes.
The upcoming,
get the swing. Gather up the swing voters.
So they're seeing them as like government rallies.
Yeah.
So who's the right-wing version? Who's the Republican version of Swift? Who have they got touring?
Well, this is it. Who would it be? I for myself, all I'm listening to is the memes. That's where I get my news from. Don't get my news from any other reliable source other than memes. Because the memes is what passes around the world quickly.
It's the truth.
Closest to the truth as possible. All praise Keck.
Yeah. So the memes say. The memes say who's the right wing? Well, who's the right wing version of Taylor Swift?
I don't know. Who would it be? Who is the current star that's selling the message of the Orange Man?
The Orange Man.
Who's selling Orange Man's message?
Orange Man. Orange Man's. Does Kanye? Does he liked Orange Man, didn't he?
Yeah. They were buddy. We're down in Mar-a-Lago or whatever they call it.
Oh, so this is it. Here it is. It's the actual. So the whole thing.
Kanye versus Taylor Swift
versus Swift.
Yeah, and that's it. Fight.
It's it.
Fight.
That's it. It's
political
battle of the year. Yeah.
That's it. Let them fight it out in the arena. Get them into the octagon.
So how will we know if this is like? Will there have to be a Kanye have to release an album before the end of this year?
Jesus versus Eris. Got to say the Blurst AI is pumping out the goods when it came. They actually got kicked off Facebook. They had to go to the version 2 because of the Swifty
yeah.
They were disrespectful. They just put it that way. Been very disrespectful towards Taylor Swift, you know. And when, like I said,
was Blurst though?
Well, it was Blurst and a few others. They're all, you know, forcing AI to create forcing AI to create some very dark memes. Let's put it that way.
More than just vomiting and stuff.
More than just the vomiting and taking it from behind with canines.
What?
Yeah, man. There was some pretty heavy stuff out there. Like I said, the things I was sending to you.
Well, you can do anything.
Was tame. Was very tame in comparison to the things I was actually witnessing.
I did. Oh, right. I didn't need to see the other.
No, definitely not. Like I said, because it would you know, being someone who enjoys that music, it basically detracts from the artist.
It detracts from the artist.
It does detract from the artist. Come on. Well, if you were seeing half the things I was seeing, you would have gone, well, you would have gotten angered. You would have gotten angered by the thing is, what the AI is creating, you know. But you remember, it's not the AI's fault. We got to not blame the AI when
it's got nothing to do with any of that.
It's the people who are asking the AI to create the image, which is the actual issue. It's not because I've seen some great AI art with Taylor Swift in it, which didn't involve, you know, all sorts of salaciousness.
Jesus Swift was excellent.
Oh, Jesus Swift was brilliant.
But no, the thing about this other stuff, right, is that you can't go to Pornhub. Oh, you know, you can go to Pornhub.
Well, you can.
You can go to Pornhub or Xhamster or whatever your X videos or
wherever you collect your prawn from.
Yeah, prawns.
Prawns, you know, raw prawns. Wherever you collect your raw prawns from. That's right.
You don't get bestiality. You can't type in dog.
Well, in most countries, that's considered illegal anyway. Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, so that you go to that level with that content, you are going to be
walloped.
Destroyed.
Walloped.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, that's like no.
With a capital W, you'll be walloped.
Whoever did that was not thinking straight.
Well, you know,
they were.
There's some pretty perverse people out there, Si. You know, in amongst them,
that was the Chinese. That was the Chinese.
It was a psyop from the Chinese, you reckon?
That was a Chinese
psyop.
Maybe that was from Kanye West.
It could have been.
Actually, I mean, that would be the most logical.
I mean, we're not blaming anyone directly, you know, under fear of litigation, but you know.
But Kanye's got motive. You know what I mean?
There is motive, you know, because she is beating his ass in record sales. That's for sure, right?
So,
and it's jealousy, man. I put it all down to jealousy. That's it.
That's it.
Just total jealousy.
He wants to be done by dogs.
I can't personally say that is what he wants, but you know, if it's. It's all about projection, right? It comes down to projection.
And he's got confused. He's got confused with God and dog. Yeah. And he just wanted to be done by his own dad. Yeah. That kind of thing, you know? Because if he's Jesus, surely, you know, his father's God. No? Is having sex as an omniscient being and you had sex with your son, would that make you like gay or like incestuous or like fucked in the head? Like, would it really, as an omniscient being?
Well, it depends on how much you love them, I guess. You know, and what kind of love that is. You know, if it's just a pure agape love, then you know you love your dad, but you don't love him that much. You know,
can God have like, you know, passionate throat sex with Jesus and get off with that? I I just because he's like seriously, surely he can.
Stop.
How would that be wrong?
Well,
Like,
from the perspective of a Buddhist, like, you know, Buddha can either be male or female in aspect when it manifests itself.
Sure.
You know, would you
But,
do that? Would you do the
Yahweh,
female Buddha? Would you do the female Buddha?
yes.
Answer yes. Of course I'd do female Buddha.
There you go.
That's it. I just.
But not you. But I'm asking, like, well, but if God, yeah, surely, you know, God can, like, you know,
if she was up for it, of course, you know,
blow bang Jesus,
not force Buddha to capitulate, but you know,
couldn't
it would have to be some sort of consent going on.
Couldn't the angels in general do that? Like, I mean, maybe I don't know. Are they?
Well, I'm pretty sure the fallen ones did when they came down here. They just about fucked everything, didn't they?
Did they?
If it had a hole, it was getting fucked.
Well, your rancher suggests that what actually happened there was that the beings, which we sort of call angels or whatever, that were sort of on the planet doing, like,
saw the daughters of man.
Well, doing uplifting
and became very attracted towards them.
Doing uplifting, I guess. Uplifting of species.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Add a bit of DNA to it.
Yeah, and then some of them got a little bit fresh with the natives, and that was not cool. And then. But
could you look at that from an aspect that, you know?
Well, I don't understand.
If you were a farmer, and you really loved your cows, would you really love your cows, or would you want to look after them?
Apparently, that's super common.
Yeah. Schnitzterfagen.
Schnitzterfagenings. It's actually it's quite common. It's in fact to almost normality.
Well, we've talked about stories of, you know, young New Zealanders and the bleating of the lamb, the silence of the lambs.
Yeah, but didn't you just talk about, like, someone in your workplace or something like that? Just was casually, like, just said, like, oh yeah, you know, back on the farm, like, you know.
Oh, that was several workplaces ago, not in my current workplace.
No, which workplace? Sometime in my life, I recall you telling me.
No, there was definitely a silencing of the lambs. That's it. You know, when they were bleeding and, you know.
But I'm aware of
when they got no teeth, man. That, you know, it's all suck in it. Yeah.
I mean, I put my dick in a when I was a kid. It was like, oh yeah, this is really good. Apparently, you know, one of those stupid moments. And you put it inside the pool suction thing. It you know, didn't rip it off or anything, but like it was all fine.
You were lucky. You were lucky. Like, that could have been very dangerous.
Yeah, the older kid came out the boy. You fucking stupid kids. It was one of those moments. You know, not your proudest, but
yeah,
educational.
I'm sure everyone's looked at the vacuum with the, you know, the side eye. Everyone's had a quick look at the vacuum and gone,
What about, is that
you're looking really good to me?
Do you know how they have the dial and you can take it from, like, vacuum to then, like, down to rug, and it goes real low, like
low suck and high vibration. Low suck and high vibration.
Is that an option? I'd never.
Well, you know,
I need to know that. Should I?
Never been in that position where I'd had to resort to the vacuum, but you know, I could see people who could.
Could? Yeah. I mean, why not? I suppose it'd be interesting. But I mean, most good vacuums are actually got the power head, and that thing would just fuck you up. Like, you don't put your dick in like a power head.
Yeah. No. It's definitely going to do some damage.
That's probably. Just, mind you, that could be a desire. Like, someone could, you know, like, you know, special chopping of this chopping fetishes and stuff. Maybe a person's fetish could be like the one-off experience. Like, you'd only do it once.
Well, I know in that
would you do anything once?
Telly series, The Boys.
Not that.
The telly series, The Boys. There was some superheroes that had a bit of a fetish for just holes in things.
What? Did you? What do you?
You know, when they saw a hole in anything, it was up for penile inspections.
I never saw this show. Hey, I don't know.
You need to
It
see
doesn't
The
se-
Boys. Like
It doesn't
it's
seem believable. I almost don't believe
there
you.
are some
Like,
scenes in there, the exploding dick scene, like where the guy crawls up the other guy's dick and then goes full size. The exploding
I
dick
don't.
scene is just like it's unless you've seen it, you just wouldn't
What
understand it.
is this R-rated?
Well, it should have been, but I think it ended up being like MA. So
And what network was it on?
hang on, just
It was on
dial.
Netflix, or no? It was on Amazon or something,
It
wasn't it?
was. I think it was. Yeah, I had to have an Amazon account. Let's go The Boys.
Because it just sounds absurd. I can't believe on television, as in the concept of television.
It was for CBS.
CBS
Yeah.
had people exploding out of
Dicks.
penises
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Jesus. No, obviously Jesus must be getting blowbanged by God, because like that's the world we live in. It's just.
Well, Carl Urban, our Aussie Carl Urban was the primary character. He was like the Butcher. He had a nickname called the Butcher.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did he do? Did he like?
He had his wife impregnated by the other primary character, which was Homelander. He got his wife got impregnated by Homelander and had a super baby.
Like forced? Like this is when he
Yeah,
sort of
well,
did he
sort of forced, but well, I
made
guess
his
you
wife
could.
made his wife like.
Well, she was his underling, and he forced himself upon her, and then pretended that
What the hell?
she killed herself, and then he hid her away with the child. So oh man, the storyline is like even the storyline itself.
The
Like,
Boys.
yeah, The Boys, man.
I don't think I need to see this.
No, I think you do need to see it, Si. I think you
I mean,
need to
it
you need
sounds
to get the
interesting.
experience of it. You need to understand the whole experience of it. The superhero's gone wrong. Like it starts off, you think, oh, it's all great and yada yada yada, and the superhero's a superhero, but then it just goes straight into this real underbelly of what it is to be an actual superhero, and how having superpowers would change your view of people who don't have superpowers versus those who do. And it was all based around a thing that experimental drug called what was it? Drug X or
Mr.
something? Drug
Bungle.
X. Because it was Vought was the primary creator of the drug.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially they were giving the drug to children. Like families were selling their kids to Vought for medical experimentation, and they were given drugs to create the superhero powers.
Wow.
So everyone has a superhero power, and with the drug, the super inherent or null, well, the inherent superpower of that person is then manifest.
So everyone does, or
Everyone
somehow
has powers, but they're latent.
Oh, okay.
And with the drug, it becomes active. Yeah. That's correct.
And what is him having to have sex or forcing himself at that? What does that have to do with anything?
Well, he was megalomaniac.
Just a cunt. Okay,
well, he's a megalomaniac cunt. That's right.
No, fair enough. No, just understanding.
Yeah.
Just understanding.
And in his cunty ways, he raped.
No value judgments.
No, in his own cunty way, that character raped his the Nemesis's wife, which was Butcher.
What sounds? sounds like they've got a lot through. I think as a result, there's a lot of emotions, and they probably need like group counselling. I think
Oh,
they should probably have an
there was several
intervention.
like the orgy scene, like I said, with the exploding cock was that blew me away. After the first couple episodes, and then when they had the young girl who was like the Nazi sympathizer, German Nazi sympathizer, she got blown up or destroyed by one of the other characters, and then Homelander, because
Yeah, right.
she was girlfriend of Homelander, and there's this scene where she's got no arm, like one hand, all she's got left is one leg, and no, sorry, one arm, and her other arm and both legs were blown off, right? He's visiting her in hospital, and while he's visiting her in hospital, and she's sitting there in the bed with just one arm, he's getting jerked off by her with the one arm. You know what I mean? Because they're still.
Who is her husband?
No. This is the new love interest for Homelander. Like, so you have to watch it. Like, I can't explain too much more without just spoiling it for you. You need to watch it. Like, there's 3 seasons, and the 3rd season is just fucking mental. Yeah.
I mean,
Actually,
a friend of mine,
let me throw another coldie in the freezer.
A friend of mine, like,
almost finished this one.
Really got into Dexter, you know, and I got to watch
Dexter
a bit of
was pretty
Dexter.
good. Dexter, in its own right, Dexter was fucking magnificent. It was a brilliant fucking series.
Yeah, it was boring as fuck. It just like it only needed 1 episode because he just did the same thing every episode. There was nothing interesting about it.
Sorting out the
like it.
untouchables.
Yeah, it's like, oh, here we go, and then he doesn't get busted, and no one works it out. And no, oh, and then he doesn't get busted, and it doesn't work because as soon as anything changes from the script, from the you know, the plot loop, the game loop, basically, it fails because he'll that's the end because he just gets taken to jail. He's a serial killer.
Yeah.
So so every time he has to get the thing, there's no real like, you know.
And the other sort of,
is he going to get busted? Are they going to chase him down?
They never do. They never do because it's just he's so clever about the cleanup.
But they're meaningless. So the characters are meaningless. Like they have no purpose because they can never.
Whereas the boys is definitely
it's a comedy.
It's worthy. It's almost as worthy as far as like I've watched a couple other good series. One was American Gods. American Gods was excellent.
No, that's excellent. Well, no, but the book is excellent.
Book is fantastic, but the teleseries was pretty good. It portrayed it, you know, as best as it could.
I thought American Gods was fantastic.
Yeah, I loved it.
Season
it was
1
quite
was
good.
Also,
yeah, especially the whole God being in the mobile van and down under when he tried to nuke him. That was brilliant. The whole nuking of trying to nuke the preacher.
Oh yes. I don't know. Yeah, it's been a while. Look, but it went a bit off the rails. Like,
oh no, I'm thinking of Preacher. Sorry. Yeah. Preacher was pretty good too. Preacher was excellent.
Preacher,
Preacher's excellent. The gun that can shoot through the whole world, make a hole from one side of the world to the other to jump through. Got to see Preacher. That's another must see if you get a chance, of course.
Well, that leads me to thinking about Chainsaw Man and the Gun Demon.
Oh, I hope everyone voted. In the anime.
Oh yeah, has there been a result yet? I mean, I haven't.
Don't know. I haven't checked. Should check. Probably has been by now. Yeah, hang on.
Should we check?
I'll look it up. Got the web page open.
Like, how long after the votes does they wait? Like, is there a point in waiting? I wonder. A week, a day, month?
Results.
Oh, is it
Anime Awards, here we go.
Yeah, the Anime Awards.
Voting has ended, but we're just getting started.
Oh,
So no results yet.
no, I didn't think so. That's some bullshit.
What? Do you want to go back out again? Let's go. In, out, in, out. You want to go back out?
Yeah. Tend to me, Daddy.
Come on.
Tend to me, Daddy.
Come on, you silly boy. You want to go back out again, don't you? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Chasey time.
Make me go back out so I
Haven't
can,
brought me many
annoy
rats
you.
lately. I'm a bit disappointed in your rat retrieval. Head and stomach, that's all I want. Stomach for the contents and what they're eating, and head for the brain scan.
That's it. Just leave me the, yeah.
Head and stomach.
There is a bit. Is it the stomach or the liver that they don't eat? Like I've seen.
Stomach they won't eat because of what they eat, the grains and shit. And obviously the stomach acids. They eat everything else. Except the head. Oh, occasionally you'll crunch the head down, but yeah, mostly these head and the stomach.
Useful.
Tribute. Gotta leave Dad tribute. I do feed him. Gotta drop the tribute. Oh, you've disappeared, Si. There you are.
I have. I was doing a big stretchy thing.
Back.
Yes. My whole alignment. Yeah, it's good. I need to spend more of my day focused on this. And I am spending a lot more of my day focused on it.
Keeping the body in line. Make sure the meat sack does what it's told.
Oh, well, no. Listening to the meat sack's needs and trying to like do what it's telling me that it needs to happen. It's like, hey, I can do way better than this, you clown. So
listen up. Squid commands it.
Squid Commander needs to get his act together. I don't know. No, I think I've actually I think I lifted something badly that was quite large and have caused myself.
And you didn't use your knees, did you?
Well, no, I totally did.
You twisted your back.
No,
oh, no. Okay.
Yeah. So it was a large board, and it was just, and I've just gone like I put it out of the car, and then just, and I'm like this, and just as you do, just doing it as normal. But
trying to be a superhero.
Well, I thought just trying to be normal. That I then realized that actually, I don't have I haven't invested in core strength management. So I'm just realigning myself, and it's a good evidence of why I actually need to get the fuck out of bed in the morning when I wake up and go for a walk and do my exercise and squat thingy that I do. I have this whole idea. So squats are really good.
Yes.
And so I do like a wall sit, but static, using static motion, like static, to try and create strength is not as good as using motion, because you take the muscle through the whole range as opposed to making it strong at one point, like one state. And so like a squat is a good version of a wall sit, for example.
Yeah.
And then there are other things, or like lifting yourself up, and then of course there's like yoga positions like that are stretches and that do like, or planking. So you get that. So you've kind of got like this thing. You got
strengthening
plank.
The muscles in the back. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a plank, and then you go from like a plank, and you go into squat, and then you come up out of a squat, perhaps, and then you would sort of go up, and you could like then use like a bar and then like lift yourself up, and then you could like, and then let yourself down the other way, and as you come down, then go into some other kind of like thing, which you then go into yoga, like big stretchy stuff, which then takes you back into the plank, right? And maybe what I'm thinking is that what if you did 1 rep? Like I was, just 1 rep. But but the 1 rep is super slow. So it's like, say, you move from the plank to the squat like over a minute, and then from the squat to being upright, you actually like raise super slowly, like over a minute or whatever. And so at each piece, you're just like, instead of doing 50 push-ups, you just do 1 super slow push-up, like just.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so you do the whole routine, and maybe the whole routine takes 10 minutes. Imagine like holding onto bars, and instead of like trying to lift yourself up 5 times, you try to lift yourself up once over a minute. just like so at each point you're just holding, like you're just getting like you're just holding it.
The posterior
That would be
superior and posterior inferior.
I think that if you did 1 pull-up over 2 minutes or whatever, like if you can do it over a minute and it's easy, you go to 2 minutes. See if you can do it over 2 minutes. See if you can do it slower. See if you can do less. And in that
less to get more.
Like, wouldn't your body would just go nutser? Just
well, it'd be sort of, what the hell are you doing?
And I think that's the thing. Like the first time you do it, maybe you have to do it quite quickly. Maybe the whole pull-up is like over 2 or 3 seconds. Like, But the goal then isn't to do it. People are like, oh yeah, he's only just done. Oh, he just did 1, and he just left. What's his problem? And then you come back like each day.
And do
he's doing
one
it.
a bit longer.
One
a bit longer. Yeah.
One a bit longer.
Hearing you.
Yeah. Just do 1.
1 for the best.
What do you think?
Good work.
I mean, yeah. How would the muscle respond?
Well, if you were doing it slow enough, obviously it'd get used to it rather than being forced, wouldn't it?
I know. Would it? So what?
Forced repetitions.
Used to it.
Yeah.
So I had a task today, which was to I did not. Anyway, so the task was to unscrew the leg of a thing on a trolley. So there's a trolley upside down. There's like bolts in the tube metal, so tube steel, whatever, on the base, of the body of the trolley. There's like a long thread of bolt, with various like attachments and swivel and then, so that's all off. There's just a bolt left, and it's sort of big washery head, and so and then, but the thing was that above that was like this plastic bit. So the bit that you would use to like lengthen or pull them out was plastic. So it was a weak system. So I says, "Oh, can you undo these?" So I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure." So I'm trying, and it is like impossible. The thing's completely rusted. Like it's a stupid task. It's interesting, but it's not even interesting. I'm like, have you got an angle grinder? No. Okay, no angle grinder. Drill? No drill. Okay. Like, well, so I try the you tighten something to crack it and then loosen it off. Like if you can't loosen something, instead of continuing that, you just try and tighten it a little more, and maybe that'll like crack the rust, because maybe it's not fully tight, and so it'll go in that direction easier.
Yes, it does.
And so I did that, and it worked. And it was a bit slower, a bit faster, slower than that. And so then I went to the next one. Just ridiculous. Like I'm just like, and as I was doing it, I kind of realized that like I didn't need to force it. Like I remembered, so I need to relax into this. Whoa!
Don't rush into
But I wasn't.
Yeah.
No, well, I find like going really slow into unscrewing something usually works quite well.
True.
And so as I was like easing, like relaxing into it instead of forcing, you just relax everything. Just keep the pressure on, but like completely relaxed. It's a different kind of experience. And then it was just not going, and the plastic was just tearing at times, and I didn't even have like the proper spanner size. What I had was a freaking plumber's clamp thing. It was just anyway. So then I tighten this. I go, oh, I'm going to use I'm going to do the tidy thing to loosen it, and it works. And finally get it right. And then what I've actually done is my righty version cracked the actual inside welded tube, like threaded tube. So now the thing's like free spinning. I can't. Then you needed to like either a hammer or ply this thing. It was impossible. It's the most, that thing like don't bring a knife to a gunfight or gun,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. This is like it's like, don't, like it's like that. It's like don't bring, a plumber's wrench
Into a knife fight.
well to into an angle grinder's job.
Use the appropriate tool.
That's it. Just fucking brow. Just cut that thing off. Now you got a hole. Now we can do what we want with the hole.
Yeah.
We made it. Because it's continuing on. Yeah, it was interesting. It's interesting. Tools are quite the thing. The person had all those tools. They did possess them all. It was not their house. I don't blame them. Like it was just like they didn't really. They were just like, I have all those things.
Fielder burgers.
Yeah. Have I ever told you? There was a learning. Actually, it was very early. It was from the digger. But it wasn't from the digger.
Digger's lessons.
It was a digger's lesson. It was through the digger. And I'm working on this job for a hairdresser. Yeah. Like it's like the annual freaking Christmas party where the state's worth of hairdressers all come in. And so this hairdresser is like this, and we've got a stage and all the things. And then there's the, as you know, and then this job is to make a star field. And then the digger says, like, as opposed to just to get the gobo. Instead of having a pre-made gobo, no, we're going to cheap the fuck out and make our own, which of course is always more expensive.
Of course.
And and so, and we don't even want to get the metal. So now what we're going to do is get an old washing machine from the hairdresser, and we're going to cut the metal sides out, steel. And we're going to get 2 of these because we've got 2. We're going to overlay the star fields. And then what we need like holes randomly applied, hundreds of 3 different sizes. But the steel is now so thick, right? Because it's fucking side of a washing machine, industrial, that you can't get through it with the first one drill bit. Like you've actually got to go through with a little drill bit and then a bigger one.
Yeah. The reaming.
And then a bigger, the reaming, right?
The reaming.
So
yeah,
now,
I get you.
Yeah. So we go through and we do all these fucking reamings of the holes and all the clamping and stopping
till
the
you get it to that
the metal.
right dimension you need.
This takes ages.
Tediously, yeah.
Super tedious. Wrong. Worse tools, bad everything.
Yeah.
And then we put it on. Well, it works. It's beautiful. Okay, this is going to work. And then on the night of the show, right, this incredibly long undertaking, the follow spot operator, instead of going star field, like when stars are called, the follow spot opens full white and just wipes it out.
Just blows everything away. Yeah.
And it's not seen, and he gets kicked off the site. But anyway, the thing is, and then goes.
That sounds like a Steppen moment. Was it a Steppen moment?
A step in.
A Steppen. You know, like discover yourself at Stefan. Discover yourself.
I had to.
At Stefan.
You know, I had to give. I had to give until
Discover
it
the
hurt.
real you.
I had to give. I had to give until it hurt. That's just so Stefan. But what I learned from that, not then, I learned other things then, but the thing that I ultimately learned from that, because I saw this thing happen a few times.
Yep.
Was just the first instance. And what it is this concept that in any kind of like project,
yeah,
there'll always be like one piece of the project which is like an amazingly cool idea. But the way it's being undertaken is like so much work.
Yeah.
And the effect
way more work than it was actually, you know, required.
Well, no, it is all the work that's required to achieve that thing. But the result of that thing will only be noticed by a few, or go for a very short time. So there will always be something in a project, a video, a fucking whatever, that where something which has got some moving parts. Oh yeah, what if we just had this thing, and whatever.
And
that
we did the
is,
thing.
Yeah, the thing, and and maybe it might not be that just because it sounds grandiose. It could be like something simple. But it'll just take a heap of time and no one will give a shit.
Yeah.
And you need to identify that thing in the project and axe it.
Immediately. Yeah.
Immediately. And they lurk in every project. So you find it and you just fuck it off. And because it doesn't help anybody. But it's always going to be very emotional when you do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You know, so
remove
anyway,
remove the overreach.
This is that thing.
Yeah.
And I'm being asked to work on it. And so I tried to say to the person who is renowned, renowned, of course. I have no nouns.
Yeah.
I'm just a adjective or something. But this person has many nouns, and in creating things in events. And I'm like, yeah, you know, in events, while I'm doing the task assigned to me, I'm like, this is that thing. And they're looking at me like I'm
back in those days. What
are you saying?
We had very little experience, and others had, you know, 20+ years of experience in this in these endeavors.
Yeah, I have the 30 years experience now.
yeah, we've had to put the hard roads in and do the time to get the experience to be
but the thing is, this
equivalent.
This person's probably about the same age as me, but like I don't know that they've had that same, but maybe they have, but maybe they don't look at events in the same way. So
they never underwent the digger training. No?
Yeah. Orangutans.
That's right. Always loving a left.
We're always loving a left.
Because there's no there's no side mirror on the right. Always loving the left.
Oh, well, and you don't have to. Well, because you're in a truck. Truck. If you're turning right, you can't. You know, it's awkward. Turning
very
left,
awkward.
You've got.
Yeah.
You know, you've just got
plenty
the curb
of visibility
on the side.
That's right. You're only going to hit the curb.
Super easy.
Yeah.
That's it. Yep.
For those who don't know, we drive on the left side of the road here in Australia.
Yeah, like a digger would love a right.
He would love to have a
Marine.
right.
Marine loves a right. Marine loves a right.
Yeah, stories of Borneo. Stories of Borneo always kept us captivated. The Borneo war stories always kept us well captivated.
Yeah, well, they do. Yeah, I think my favorite of the war stories was RDO weekend, and
not the pool with the
the
pool story.
The pool story. I mean, the slot car goddesses story was also very good, but to pull off the pool story, I just can't even. Like,
yeah. That is level expert was achieved.
And he was never a liar.
No.
He was a raconteur.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that happened. I don't know.
Maybe
that actually
some
happened, Matt.
maybe some furphy action, but never lied.
But
Yeah,
no lying.
yeah, no lying.
There was
Slight embellishment of the truth, but the truth was always there.
They did get the pull and did do things like it's
and
just like
the slippy slide,
the slippery slip. Yeah, they put all the
Yeah.
soap and then
And
put the water, and then they were
That's it.
and like what? Who? It makes you want to join the army. Now
It does. It does. It does make you want to join the army.
That's an ad for the army. Not like get where you want. Just these soldiers in some Asian country like laughing and sliding down and trying
and try to get it in the hole. Yeah, that's it. Trying to get that
It's
ball
like
in the hole.
Yeah, achieve what you really want. Get your achieve your dreams. You know, like whatever it is. It's like,
in the tail on the donkey.
That's a claret operation.
Definitely claret. Definitely claret involved. Yeah.
But,
the skinning of knees. But positioning.
Position. And successes.
That's it.
That's just ridiculous.
Home run. Absolute home runs.
I mean, I don't even
That's
say.
it. It's well before the time. Well before the time of It would have been a Super 8 moment. Put it that way. It would have been a Super 8 moment.
Yeah. It's absurd. I so love it. Yeah. I think they were my favorite stories because they were very not just outlandish. There's just so much detail.
Yeah, and so complex. Well thought out and complex. Exactly.
And
many upon memories relayed,
and even
relayed onto the younglings,
sitting there eagerly,
yeah,
looking up,
listening
at the busted.
Get down, you idiots! They're shelling.
That was wild, hey?
Oh, that night.
That got all real.
M would have survived. I'll never forget. M would have survived because he moved quickly. I moved quickly as soon as the shelling started.
I was a fool of a boy.
I was heading straight towards the cover. As soon as I heard the first shell, I was like, that's it. I'm going down. I'm into the bunker.
Yeah, I was full of a boy more often than not. I remember during a Stefan event, the digger coming in and me just having just too late a night, being by the digger, no less, like that and flips the bed on me. Like you do in the military. Like, you know, you're not getting out. Sergeant!
That's it.
Get in there and get private fucking private digger is not getting out of bed.
Private Stockman is not raised from his bed yet. Flip that cot he's sleeping in. Flip that cot.
Okay, I'm out. Oh my God, like it was ridiculous. It was like real. But get up, boy. get up.
But this isn't the army digger.
It is.
It is. When action-packed lighting and stage productions is involved, it is the army.
I think it is. Yeah, I think in a sense, like why not? Like armies. It reminds me again of the just watching this Assyrian episode and oh man, like people talk about going and seeing, I'd love to go to New York. It's like so amazing and it'd be cool to see like the Statue of Liberty. What an incredible thing. Yeah, sort of thing, for example, or whatever. And Tokyo is such an amazing place. They're boring as fuck. I think like we live in one of the most boring times in history.
Yeah, we haven't had our own Great War to gain those stories.
No, man. Like, like to cruise through. When say something like Conan. Well, you play the Conan online game.
Yeah.
So and it's just sort of not medieval. It's like whatever. What is that primitive the tribal thing with big cities of and mountains and flaming things, and inside a cavern, and citadels and shit, like
regular blood moons and blood moons and rages against your creations. Where the natives all come in to destroy what you built.
Yes, or the people you conquered, rather. We call them the natives, but the people you conquered
They rise up against you.
They rise up.
Indigenous population rise up against you.
Yeah.
To destroy your citadels that you've created.
Like the things that we built, like to live in those cities, like in one of those, like in Apur or in Babylon or something like that. Like you were walking around just fucking beautiful, like sculpture. Like your whole city was this incredible sculpture of just these, towering, art pieces on every corner, and like just now it's just like a fucking McDonald's and a street sign. Like it's just it's banal. We live in
the modern version of
the gods
Roman slum.
Oh, it's a
we
slum.
all live in the Roman slums.
Yeah. Good point, because actually some people still do live in that realm.
There are parts. There are parts. I mean, I was looking at a video of the amazing things that they've done in Dubai, and one of them was they have these shade system, which are like giant umbrellas, and when it gets too hot, they just deploy these huge sails, and it's the equivalent of something like 20 football fields that it covers. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And they like do a misting thing to decrease the temperature, because in the hottest parts of the day, I mean, hitting 40 plus in some of those streets and whatever. So they have this huge sail system which opens up these umbrellas, which are 30, 40 foot tall, and they basically shade their populace with these incredible shade systems. I was looking at a video today, and I was just like, absolutely ogling. I was just going, wow, that's incredible. What they've done to protect their populace against the heat of the midday sun.
That sounds interesting. Yeah, I think they still get it there. Well, there was some other interesting things about the region, but yeah, and just the horror. Like, I don't know, it was so sad. Like these incredible places, like the city of Babylon, or
like it would have been incredible to see the Hanging Gardens.
Yeah, well, this actually suggested that the Hanging Gardens might not have been in Babylon at all, but they might have been in this other city, which was north of Apur. It was like which became the sort of Narim or something, which became sort of like a northern. It was more north and on the Euphrates, and became the administrative and sort of royal capital versus the sort of spiritual capital of Assyria. And they did actually build. They collected plant and stuff from everywhere, every corner of their empire, and made
which
like
is,
full
sort of like our basic versions of botanical garden sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they called it a botanical garden. Yeah, or whatever that. And basically, that they knew that that's what it was, and like it's just incredible. Like the structures and just the scale, and I don't know, like coming along a river and then.
Well, I guess when you have people who are dedicated at their craft, like true craftsmen or artisans, artisans or whatever they would term them back then, like if you knew how to do your thing, whether it be carve rocks or sculpture wood or create mosaic artworks, then if you had that ability, and you had numbers, then you just get it done.
Well, actually, and also you get that work. It was interesting that a lot of the work then was sort of had a lot of creativity in it, in a sense. Like a lot, not a lot of it didn't. But I think part of it was that everybody in a sort of an organization, a system, then a city or whatever, kind of were living as all pieces of the same goal.
Yeah.
Where now we live in like a mishmash of 5 million goals all going in different directions.
Yeah. We're not focused on the central goal anymore. We're more focused on ourselves and our phones.
Yes. And so part of the thing back then was that, like there was this central planning thing and everyone moved within it, which was part of the meme development of us actually sharing knowledge. And there's a whole other layer of like informational, the evolution of the meme, the unit of information.
Yeah.
And I guess but what they got to do, even though the human, each of us, like we're doing that, and you didn't really have, like you were, you might have had your own life. At a life level, you were laughing and drinking down the pub and doing all the things.
Yeah.
But the overall goal was part of the whole objective.
Yeah.
But you got to live in beauty.
Well, it was a single vision.
But you got to live in beauty. Whatever your role was within it, unless you were being beheaded, then like just a slave, just like some conquered vassals of horror that you were integrated, and like then you got to walk around these beautiful places and do all these things, like there was
and marvel at the marvels
that you helped make,
that you were a part of,
that you were part of. That was
rather than the modernized version of the singular story.
The cities themselves became gods. Like the cities were gods. Like Apur actually became the center of Assyria. That was just sort of where it started. They had gods, and then the city actually, the main god of Assyria was Apur, which was a city. The city was
named after
Babylon.
Yeah, that's it. Named after the wondrous things that they created, or at least inspired to create.
And here's this, right? So watching this show was interesting because what the Assyrians were doing was when they would like take out a place, one of the strategies would be to grab their gods, because their gods were objects, a statue, and they would then take it away, and they would take it they would take their gods with them, and they would bring them back to like their central place. And so if you wanted to worship your god, you had to kind of integrate, because your god has now become part of our story. Yeah, your god's moved over to us. You don't control your god anymore. And the Hebrews come up in Israelites come up in the story of the Assyrians, and it's in their Bible, and it's in their writings as well. And as the story was kind of unfolding, I had this real sense of like there was sort of one of the things was that the person who was narrating does an amazing job, and the angle he had is, I suppose, like the angle, which is that the weird thing about the Israelites was that they said that if you had there was only one God.
Yeah, they had
only worship that God.
Yeah, the monotheistic approach.
Yeah, and any other, if you talk to any other God, it was like not talking to nothing at all, or at worst, you were talking to demons.
Yes.
So it was, but that actually wasn't
No
the thing.
wishes for you.
That wasn't the thing. And I think the reason why it was one God was because it was convenient. You don't have to remember as many things.
Yeah, yeah.
But the actual transformation wasn't the single God. It was virtualizing God. Because in the other places, like in Babylon, they could take Marduk and bring it back to Apua.
Yeah.
And make Marduk sit beneath Apua. You know.
And create the caste system, exactly.
But yeah, obviously, you see, your God is literally. They sometimes like where they would take people's gods, bring them back, and put them on trial
to see if they were worthy enough.
Put the statue on.
They made to see whether they had worthiness.
Well, if they committed the crimes, that's why we had to destroy your people, Marduk, because you were leading them astray. So they would put there was all these like theater around the gods, yeah. So what the Israelites did was not make a single God. That wasn't actually the innovation. It was to make a virtualized God so that you couldn't take it away from them.
Yeah, yeah. That's
so even though they were conquered and
you couldn't take our statue and place it below yours.
No. Ours was virtualized and always above yours because because it was everywhere. Yours was just a silly statue.
Yeah.
But our God's everything.
So,
which is kind of funny because in a sense it like, though they don't realize it, was like it's actually sort of a bit more animist in a way. It's going back to the spirit being everything as opposed to sort of being embedded in an object.
Worship no graven image.
But the purpose, like the creation of this monotheistic virtual gods, was not because they're real. It was because they couldn't be taken away. It was like an evolution of that concept to protect.
You couldn't break the statue, which was its representation, because it never had a representation of a statue.
Yeah. That's the innovation.
Couldn't chisel the faces off because you were angry at the people.
You couldn't fucking chisel the face off. That's right. The faceless God. Which doesn't make it more real than the clay one.
Well, the clay one has physicality, whereas the virtual, it dwells within the heart and the mind, does it not?
No, both are manufactured. like they're both constructs created by kings to control people.
Correct. Correct. That's it. It was the control It was the control mechanism.
And if you look at it like in Enki and Marduk and these others, like over in Sumerian previously, and then into Babylonian. And the Assyrians
pushed across into Assyria and the Egyptians. All the others that spawned out from Greek ones.
Which came later. So this is still this bit of it.
But if you look at it, they all had similar names. The names were just slightly changed across the which are essentially just the kings. The kings of those times had their representation. Their representation created into,
that's why
godlike status.
No, it's also the thing which it's brought so much sense for me. Whenever I've read the Bible, and I've read the Bible, I actually have. Well, one of them, probably the King James, I assume. But and I've also read part of the Gideons and things. But when they talk about God and the Lord and the Holy Spirit, right? Listening to like this stuff, like it makes, because this is like Assyria, so this is around the region, like understanding like the virtualization of God, but then also this concept of like the Lord. The Lord is the king. Like it just is.
Yeah,
like, it's
pretty
not,
much.
That's why it's like, why is the Lord all wrathful and stuff? It's because it's the fucking
king.
Lord.
That's it. And he's pissed off at the people because they didn't finish the such and such statue or the such and such.
And people, it's like I can't believe we're in 2024, and people are like, and you're like, yeah, no, but The Lord, no, but the Lord is just another word for God. Yes, because the Lords were the incarnation of the fucking God.
Yeah.
That's why it's when the Lord says it versus when the goddamn statue says it.
The statue's not going to cut your hands off or cut your head off, is it? Only the
No.
Lord's going to do that.
The Lord does that.
The Lord
that's
is the
right.
wrathful, vengeful part of the God.
That's
right. The
right.
statue is simply the passive part of it.
It's
the thing you worship is the passive part.
It's
That's
Santa,
yeah.
and the Lord is Krampus.
The Lord is the Krampus. That's right. Exactly. The Lord will punish you if you don't do as the fucking the statue God tells you.
Yeah, that's right. But the God doesn't do that. God looks after you.
The God's indifferent.
The God is indifferent.
It's always been indifferent. It's just like let them play. They are but children. Until they move themselves to a higher way of thinking and a higher vibration.
Realize that
until they take on the premise of the higher vibration, then they'll always just be an underling. Interesting to think about, though.
No,
that's I guess the whole beauty of philosophy is being able to, have an exchange, talk about our gods and our individual things that we believe and our make believes,
Our make beliefs.
Our make believes. That's right.
Yeah.
And not be angry or critical of them, but just basically say, oh, okay, your God's different from my God. It's not better than my God, it's just different.
Yeah, well, it's not even. Did you make up yours? Yeah, I did. Yeah, so did I.
We created a few furphies to get to what we needed.
And just the whole thing, like, did you imagine these
whatever
king,
fits into our method of control.
But here was the thing, right? Aside from like what the various kings said to each other about what their gods pretended to say to them, and like, so they, oh my God, told me that
I had a dream last night. While I was high on opium and drunk on wine. Had this dream.
And so this woman in some Haran maybe.
Yep.
There's some smaller, not city, but whatever, some volume of people in the Assyrian Empire. So she like goes crazy this one day, running around the streets and having like falls on the ground and starts speaking in tongues.
Which is, probably just having a fucking a seizure,
just paid
some
off.
sort of
paid off by the Chinese. And she was what
olden day psyop.
She was a psyop. Yeah, that's right. So this psyop in Haran, she does a little theatrical like seizure on the ground, comes up speaking tongues, as they say.
She sniffed down too much volcanic gas.
It's the old metho, the sulfur out.
Got too sulfified.
Too sulfured. And then just starts ranting about how like the king is going to he's going to die in this like particular blah blah blah, and he's finished and da 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 da, and like something's going to happen. And anyway, like the rumor flies around because it's not just the town,
olden day version of the meme. Yep, the meme flies around.
She just memes that shit across Assyria and associated territories and aligned territories, and the king hears about this and is just like
he's just like totally
fuck.
What?
Turns out that years later, his final attempt to like do whatever it was, some violent act with his mob, went through as he went on that final quest. He got sick on the way and dies in the city that woman was in, like actual, and which was not lost on the people.
No, because they'd heard the meme.
The meme they had, and
Mm,
the meme, yeah, and the
yeah.
power of the meme was making bread, and the power of the meme was killing your king.
Mm,
Like and the king killed themselves in a way. It
yeah.
was interesting hearing how they got depressed, and it was a whole. It, it's just a. But then it was just a beautiful. The places were, man, that we'd lost those things. That each one of those things, the Assyrian cities, the knowledge,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
eh,
Well,
like that they
with
don't still exist.
the supposed destruction of the great
Oh, the amount
library,
of people who
you know.
died. Oh my gosh, it's so sad. Like, what the fuck? We are just. The main thing is the knowledge, like you say, the
Yeah.
library. Like,
Yeah.
this library had 30,000 clay tablets.
Yeah.
The dude, one of the final dudes of Assyria, and it's only because of that library that we have so many records. It
Yeah.
was interesting during the thing, like they sort of said, "Oh, there's these thousands of tablets, like thousands and
Mm.
thousands, and most of them haven't even been read." And it's like, why don't we just feed all the images into an AI, and we'll
And
just build
just
like
create the deciphering.
the whole
Mm.
story. Mm.
Well, it's like the disappearance of the ether, you know. Up until the 1920s, ether existed in most of the writings. It was an actual element, ether.
Yeah, yeah.
And then after the 1920s, the ether was removed from the elemental list.
Mm. What is it? Do you think is it the quantum foam, like where things just bubble up?
Ether's the glue.
Is it their
Ether's
way?
the glue of gluing everything together.
So is it
All the composite and elements glued together with ether.
the ancient version of dark matter or dark energy then?
Pretty much, yeah.
It
Pretty
may
much.
be.
It was the ancients' version of it, and their interpretation of the glue that sticks everything
Yeah.
together.
So they still knew it.
The weak atomic force,
This is the thing. They still
as we
knew.
term it today.
They still knew
Yeah, of course they did.
that all of that. Not like fuck. Can you imagine? I can't imagine. I actually don't know that I can imagine what it would be like to be living now in, like, say, like the Hittite culture or the Assyrian, or I can imagine if like the Egyptians continued on to now, like
Mm,
we were still living,
mm.
like that
And they had that
whole
knowledge rolled over into the modern
the
age.
whole
Yeah.
time, man, we would be like,
Well, we'd be hyper advanced. We'd be building those fucking Dyson spheres and creating fucking
totally, man, we
uh
would totally,
yeah, well
yeah,
that's right. We would have elevated ourselves to a position where we would be
yeah, it'd be
considering
amazing.
ourselves to be, not above gods, but on the par with
Mm,
gods.
totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Such wasted time we
Oh,
spend.
and to
It's a tragedy.
redo it over and over again
Mm.
for so many fucking generations.
Oh,
So
it's
to go
boring.
from,
I know it gets,
from being dumb as dog shit to being elevated.
and the price of
At
elevation.
price of elevation. That's it.
Yeah, what it means to like have to do it again and again until you get it right.
Mm.
Reset,
Yep.
groundhog. Sorry, go back,
Sorry. Let's do
retry,
it. Redo.
retry.
Yeah. Mulligan. Let's do another mulligan. Didn't quite get it right. You ended up destroying yourself. Real sorry about that. Do over.
All the selves.
Mm.
I don't know. It's so beautiful. They also like the thing. I don't know. Here was the thing. Here's the thing. So Assyria, Babylon, all these places,
Mm.
right? They understood foundations, and so they built and they aqueducts and all this shit, and water systems, and you know, but and they were building with clay, so they built clay bricks. And there's never much talk about this. I've never seen anything about it. But there was this concept called the Stone Age, yeah?
Mm.
So there's these buildings that were like way older somehow that were stone.
Yeah.
And then we get to mud. Like I wondered what happened there. Like, how did we sort of? I mean, partly. I mean, where they were building, there wasn't stone, and I think so. I think a few things. One is that I want to say is one is that we built things out of mud, and it was fine, and it was lasted hundreds and hundreds of years, and was grand and beautiful, and we could do all sorts of cool shit with it. And all this clay brick and drying them in the sun. And the second thing is like we're actually just using what was there.
Mm.
In another place
available materials. That's right.
The available materials, right? So, like, we've talked at times about architecture and various things for space, but also just like it's kind of like we don't need to build things out of like all these complex materials. Like those clay buildings, they lasted a fucking long time.
Because they were
longer than our
well
buildings,
built.
man.
They were well
way
built.
longer than us. Yeah.
Time and effort went into perfecting the way that they were put together, and that's why they last
beautifully
so long.
painted and colored, and the thing
Pure
is
reason why the pyramids still exist today.
But yeah,
it would have seen many generations. Yeah. And it only exists today because of the amount of trial and error that they did to get it to where it was.
Yeah, I mean, we also just, I don't know, like, here's the thing, is also that they just, this idea that things took a long time.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, no, but yeah, exactly. Because they would like do all these fresco or whatever they engraved walls, telling entire stories. You could like walk along, like a person could walk along and use that as an artwork and orate like the battle, like as you went through the artwork, all beautifully painted, and that didn't take 10 years to make. Like they came back and they just did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was like it was maybe.
Well, you throw enough manpower at anything, and it can be achieved quickly.
And you have to feed those people, and so it can't be that many people. Like it can't be like thousands did it. Like it was 10.
Yeah, because the logistics behind that would be virtually impossible.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's impossible.
Virtually impossible. Yeah.
It was 10 people. And they spent a couple of months.
Well, it could have just been an entity. It could have been a very skilled entity that could create those things. To build those mega structures. It could have been just one or two entities doing it. If you think about it.
We don't write about these entities though. We didn't write about them though.
Well, they were subservient to the kings of the times, i.e. the Ring of Solomon.
Oh, that controlled a golem.
The control of the entity. To build the mega structures.
And they were the giants that like looked like they were moving.
Of course. Well, that's what we would term them in, our
well, I mean, we did
way of looking at it. But yeah, there's been many an evidence, and people would say that there's been cover-ups of these things. But yeah, there's many a story across every culture of giant beings being the assistants.
I know. I don't.
The Watchers helping, Moses build the fucking ark.
I'm not into the concealment bullshit, but obviously there were giants.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't know. I don't know why obvious, but like not like I don't know. I don't subscribe to the conspiracy version of that.
Oh, that's just
it's more the
playing mind games with others rather than being honest, rather than being honest about it.
I don't know. I don't know. I just see like mythology being kind of real. Like it's all real. So you know, mythologically
Well, just
speaking,
every story that you would hear as mythology, all was based on something real.
well,
It would
even
have
the
to be
thing of
based
like
on something real. You
even
know,
the
otherwise the
engagement in Greek
mythology wouldn't
mythology
exist.
of Gaia, you know, which is like, and the interaction between Gaia and this other, what was the other one? Whatever the other thing was,
The
which then like
early chaos gods.
yeah, well, there's the chaos gods, and then there comes the Gaia, and then it hits a thing, and then
the
out of that
children of
comes
the chaos gods.
that they and then you kind of just burrow that down, and you just go, well, you're just describing like planets hitting each other, and then shit going down, and then these things
The
that were
best
like
one I've heard
titanic,
recently in the whole, you
like
know, the
oh,
ancient technologies.
the
Not
the
conspiracy,
conspiratorial version of it.
not conspiracy, but
No, ancient
more.
tech, ancient tech,
Yeah. But
ancient
this
tech's
is the
fine.
best bit:
Yeah.
is that there's more than just the 9 planets. There's actually
Hang on.
more
Is
like
this conspiracy or ancient tech?
more like
Planets.
69 planets, and that's why the whole 6 and 9 is, you know, a special number, because there's actually 69 planets.
There's
and
69 planets
in our
because
solar system, and that the reason we don't see the other 60 planets is because they're in higher vibration than what we can see. Higher frequency vibration than what we're actually able to see.
they're gamma wave. They're living they're living in some kind of high energy wave, aren't they?
Supposedly.
Yeah, it's you can. It's
I mean,
doable.
our limited scope of vision, our limited scope of hearing, you know.
Yeah, no, it's totally, yeah, sure.
We've been dumbed down over the fucking millennia.
So do you think we used to be gigahertz creatures, and now we're
just like megahertz creatures. Yeah, well, you know.
Not even mega. No, we're like kilohertz.
Kilohertz creatures. That's right.
So this is the dumbing down of humanity, was like we were turned
on
from
purpose.
gigahertz down to on purpose down to kilohertz.
From terahertz down to gigahertz to megahertz down to kilohertz.
We've been vibrationally slowed
down, and that's why we live our corporeal, physical existence.
Oh, I am light moving so slowly.
That other bits of light have gathered together and solidified me.
Well, I think within all of these things, you look at that, and I can like go, yeah, that's really fucking weird. And then you go, but yeah, okay. Well,
but it sort of makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah, it's sure. You can put it around. Some things are often opposite though. So I think sometimes like higher frequency things, perhaps they were lower. I don't know. I haven't thought about that, but maybe they were lower. Maybe we're still in the excitement phase.
Perhaps.
Maybe like that's why things expand.
Maybe we're just waiting for
excitement.
The next
more energy.
We're just waiting for the next cosmic cosmic rabbits vomiting of the universe to.
Cyclic cosmology, as I heard it recently called by Isaac Arthur. It's where a philosophy that basically says that which crosses over with physics, where the universe expands and then contracts. Like, so you just sort of get like sort of, it's just like a breathing cycle, I suppose, or to use that kind of language.
Interesting to ponder.
Yeah, that's not as used. That one's not so useful. I know it also doesn't sort of. No, I don't really see that being the function. Yeah, it doesn't seem to make sense why it would do that. Like, if the function of it is to like have all the experiences, then that doesn't reduce. Like, it's just at the end. It's just sort of, you keep expanding out.
Well, it's a whole experience. Working your way down from the higher vibrations to the lower vibrations.
Fucking lower vibrations. I love it. It's I was in Westfield. I was in BJ. I was
You
having
like
a
the you
BJ.
like the current background? Can you see it?
No, I wasn't even looking. I'm just looking at me as on a green screen.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there, I
Cosmic
can see
Bunny.
it. Yeah.
Cosmic Bunny.
Yeah, I don't want to get confused. Cosmic Bunny. Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. Well, fermions, all the experiences bubbling up. I don't know. I think the thing to come out of like, oh man, like I don't know, like you start to assemble all this information, like I don't know, like Assyria and then the Hittites before them, and like all these, like that goes back to like just after the Younger Dryas, and then this kind of period, and then there was these things, and then like oh no, we have been doing this shit for way like
Longer than
way longer. This
yeah. Well, isn't that's pretty obvious, isn't it? Like
it's so yeah. I don't know. I just want to say that like things like, I sort of arcing back to the beginning. Yeah, I don't subscribe to the conspiracy meme of a subject, but I understand how one uses, over. Well, it's basically immigration is just a denial of service attack. Like like it's the same thing. You just overwhelm the computer services to the point where it just crashes. Fuck.
and it's got to
And then you can
restart, or
hack
like
it.
got to reboot the
You
primary
go,
computer again.
yeah. That's it. And and also that like giant empires that span the world, like in Assyria, like living in Assyria would have been amazing, like just amazing. And at the same time, if you turned wrong, you were just being like you and hundreds of or thousands or tens of thousands of you were being hundreds of thousands of you were being slaughtered, like to a place literally, like those scenes in stuff where like there's just bodies everywhere and the whole river's red. That's just fucking real. People saw that, like they were standing there with doing it, like, and
Yeah,
like
the rivers of
it's all
blood.
it's experienced. It's but that leads to people hating you, and so like America in that way, like all of the trying to bring democracy to the world, trying to bring capitalism to the world, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, for some people it works, for others it doesn't.
Why you have you then you create this porous border, and and let people in, and what you allow is then to be infiltrated in mass scale. And is there a multi-generational coordinated a plan to take down America? It's probably on a level that's probably what America does to itself. I mean, that's just how our systems work. We kind of then tear them down, and the sadness of having to rebuild. Like to lose what we've got now would be it's just a very sad thing. Can't we look from the past and just go,
learn from our mistakes?
Past performance is evidence of future outcomes.
Yeah.
Do not mistake. Like the look, and this dude just keeps showing. I don't think he meant to, because it's too much research to have pre-thought it. But it's always Guns, Germs, and Steel says it, like other Tim Winton and other people say it too. But it's never one thing. It's like environmental stresses plus like internal stresses, plus some kind of like, meme collapse, like where the kings stop existing.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
New ruler required.
Yeah, something random. It's like pissed off a bunch of people. Like there's this whole range of factors that lead to genuine collapses, and I don't know, yeah, and the way that the speed, like these cities, they were around for like hundreds, not thousands, but definitely like many hundreds of years. They thought that they were the whole world.
Yeah.
The
Well,
whole of reality.
essentially to themselves, they were the whole world.
They were the whole world, and just created wonder and beauty everywhere. And then in 2 years,
overthrown.
2 years,
yeah,
just
decimated,
abandoned,
overthrown,
overthrown,
all their
to
beauty.
the ground.
Yeah, sacked and destroyed.
2 years, 2 years. So yeah, we look at something like America 500 years, as if that's like, and I'm guilty. Like I'm guilty. Like in my life, like I've spent most of my life looking at that, thinking, oh, that was a long time. And I don't know, and kind of looking back at something like, I was always very interested in ancient cultures, but they were like little metal. They were the little playthings that I moved around on my carpet, going, soldiers with helmets. And I looked in a book, and there was like, Assyrian soldiers had iron spears, and you're just like, oh, they look cool. Like, what was that? And then, but you start to sort of map that shit out, and
all adds to the overall picture.
Yeah, and I mean, you're just looking at things that people like the Hittites lasted for. Well, they didn't last for hundreds. That was like that was
thousands. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, thousands, and arguably, like, yes, we've like the Roman. Well, we live in the Roman Empire. We are Roman citizens. Like, so that never ended. That's been like over 2,000 years. That's like 2,500 years or something like that. But that's not the longest. Like, we might live in Rome, but that's not. The Hittites lived longer.
Yeah.
So, can we learn? Is there? And there's this other part. Like, as I was listening to all these things, I was like, well, the stronger memes just ate the other ones and destroyed the other things. And,
correct. And then became the predominant. Yeah.
Became the predominant, and then we have like banality. We've got shitty buildings and crappy everything that sort of come out of it on one level.
Artwork now is a fucking banana taped to a wall with gaff tape, for 120K.
Yeah.
That's what the level of artistic
while we walk
value.
amongst we're walk amongst slums, and but maybe we can stop destroying our story and go, even if the conquered story is conquered, that it's still kept.
Yeah.
Kind of revered. We've got to be less.
We've got to be less. How would I term it? We've got to be less his story and be their story.
Oh, their story instead of his story.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
being more their story rather than his story. And retaining their story rather than enforcing his story.
Yeah. Yes, and we fucked them good and they died.
Yeah,
that's not the answer. It's
yeah. Even though those particular cultures had, incredible insight into, the realm in which we live. That's right.
Oh my gosh! Like the ceremonies, the rituals, the ways that you would use certain plants and things. Like
that's it.
Fucking hell.
Like, no, true.
The knowledge base. The knowledge base is like just phenomenal. We're like
retention of their story rather than his story. That's it.
Yeah. Let's stop pissing on everything.
That's it. Just stop trying to own it and just, be it.
Dogs. Yeah, dogs just pissed. Oi! Just fucking... Yeah. I often observe humans just being like dogs. I think it's quite, I think dogs kind of represent a lot of like humanity's traits. For obvious reasons.
Sadly, yes.
Sadly. Wolves less so. By a long way. Jeez. So I went back to the psych yesterday. That was interesting.
Yep.
A bit of it, where we're up to.
The learning mores about cyber.
Well, it was interesting. So, yeah, I sort of was like, no, I'm in a better place. Learn these things, not doing those things that were making me feel unwell, like Uber Eats and other stuff. I've managed to move past that, thankfully.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to if I need to do a little bit, but I
realize they're just necessity for facilitating the
if I was to do that again,
mechanisms to get the things that you want.
I would hate it, but I would do Amazon partner delivery, because you then interact with nobody. You just go to the warehouse, speak to one dude who become friends. Yeah, you pick up all the boxes, fill out your whole car, and you drive around through the day, just dropping
the boxes. That's right.
And go home. You know what I mean? Like
less human interaction and more just the pure delivery driver.
Because I don't need to be treated like a rapist 25 times a day to earn money. It's just not cool. Yeah. So we went through those things, and so I had this whole conversation. I was just looking out the window again, going, "This is a fantasy. I don't want to live in the fantasy. This is like, don't want to do that." Right. Yeah. And we kind of went through the things, and then I was sort of like, so I say this thing. So I'm like, so I'm doing more NDIS work. I'm looking after people and things. And I said, and I know what's really beautiful about that in a way is that I'm, giving people flexibility and opportunities. And through doing that, I have flexibility and opportunities for myself, space and time to do my own things by helping other people have space and time to do things, to do the things. And so it's very even. And then she was really, the psych was all like, "Oh, this is wonderful. Like, that's so beautiful. What an amazing thing." And to be able to tell those people, and, and that's such a gift to give to them, like, because you're empowering them that they're actually giving you something, but they have things to give.
Return rather than
And I was like, "Oh." She's like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I suppose." I was like, I said, "Look, I have to be honest. Like, I actually don't get any sort of. I think what you're thinking is that I get a sense of value out of that or something." And I just said, "I don't." She said, "But it's such a kind thing, beautiful, kind thing that you're doing." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I don't like."
You're not appreciating the value of it.
No, I'm aware of it, but it's not what makes me tick. It's because that's just like doing what you're meant to do.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, you brushed your teeth today. Oh, good boy." You're like, no.
Satisfaction guaranteed.
No, I'm just brushing my teeth. What do you want from me? And then she was just like tripped out. I tripped the psych out. She's like, "What the fuck? Like, you do this beautiful thing and you know that it is, and you tell people that and you help people, and it means nothing to you." And she said, "Are you just doing it for the money?" And I was like, "Huh." And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, "Yeah, I am."
We're working for the facilitator to get the things that you want.
Yeah, if I didn't need, and that's where when I pointed out the window, I was like, "This is just a fantasy. Like, I mean, I don't need money. I'm just not allowed to make my own home or grow my own food, and I have to have money to do those things." So yeah, I mean, I would help people or do things if they came along. Like, if someone came along, I would help them out if I had the resources. I wouldn't just kill them on the spot. Like, that seems unreasonable. But I have stories to tell.
Well, as long as they weren't trying to take your,
Yeah. No, if they're trying to harm,
your field of zucchinis away, then there would be no reason to kill them.
Because zucchinis have multiple uses. Don't take a zucchini. You have no idea. I recommended a zucchini.
Zucchini's
when I was a fruitologist, as a weapon. No, as an aid.
Oh,
I said, "What do you?" Yeah. So what do you recommend? I was like, "Well, I would recommend this because if it's just sort of structural, and if it sort of does this, it's not going to like frack." Yeah. It's like, yeah, I gave it 10 points.
Has a superior density where it's not going to just fall apart upon entry.
Yeah, people talk about bananas, but bananas would just crush. That's pointless. Like, don't misunderstand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That's
you
very
just
educated.
slowly work your way up to the eggplant.
I don't know. If you're aware of eggplants, I'm being great. But anyway, zucchinis come in natural sizes, and you can cook them
Yeah,
up
they're more
afterwards.
realistic sizes rather than overcompensating size.
Yeah, you don't want to overcompensate in your life. So I kept thinking about the money bit. You're doing this for money. You're doing this for money. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And I said, why? What is the money thing? Yeah. And then I was like, oh, I thought about this for like the whole day. And I was like, well, what do I need the money for?
It all boils down to the whole: would a god need money if a god could create anything?
Yeah, well, the Lord is not the God. The Lord is not the God. So the money, I was like, why do I need money? And I was like, I need it because I need it to give to
Because
people.
it creates functionality in the society in which we live.
Well, who do I need to give it to? Who wants it?
Well, the person that owns the shelter in which you live requires a certain amount of that.
The owner.
The owner.
The owner.
The
The
owner.
owner. And who hands out the money?
Well, the owner of the
owner.
work.
The owner. So the owner hands out money.
Yep.
And you
demands
gotta give me money.
It gives with the left hand and takes it back with the right.
So the people who require me to give them money are the people who issue it. So they're standing there going, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna have a sleep tonight. And they're like, no.
We created the facilitator.
No.
We created the
facilitator
which you bargain your time and energy for, so that you can give it back. You can give us back your time and energy in that same form.
Even on the deeper part of that, yes. The part of it is you're not allowed to sleep or eat
unless you have the facilitator, which is the money.
So I just want to go. No, you can't. Oh, no. But what if I just go into that tree then?
But I could just live in this park here in a tent and it'd be fine. No. Sorry, that is not an area of commonness which we allow you to live freely in.
You can only live in one of these.
You have to be bound by our facilitator.
Okay. So you start to walk over there. Hang on. You need money.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I just realized, I was like, oh, this is very interesting. So there's this whole trip. It's like, oh, I see. So you deny access to anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then
unless the facilitator is there.
And I have to give you the things. I say, okay, well, where do I get those things? Well, I give them to you.
I give them to you. That's right. I am the hander out of the facilitator and the taking back of the facilitator.
Well, how do I get them off you? Oh, you gotta suck my dick.
Well, no. You need to become the manifester of facilitations.
Oh, the manifester of facilitation.
And then once you reach that level of the manifestation,
solicitations.
I can do it for you, but it's going to cost you this much.
It's just like it's easier if it's just
far easier if you do it. All right,
far easier.
It is far easier if you do it.
That's right. So
no one can quite do it quite as well as you can do it, because you're the master at it.
Well, because you know that if you don't do it really well, you've got nowhere to sleep and nothing to eat.
Correct.
The end.
Dig yourself a little hole and put yourself in there and pull the dirt across. That's it.
Well, you're not allowed. Because you've still got financial value. You've still got extractable value. You're not even allowed to kill yourself.
You still have time left. You still have time and energies left. So
no permission
we need to be able to convert those into the facilitation methods, which is the money.
Yeah, that's right. We need to convert you into the facilitation method.
Your time and energy is worth something to us.
The milking.
Yeah, the milking.
And I was just like, yeah, I see now. This is amazing. This is my last 24 hours of my life, just going, right. So, and I was like, who would do that? I was like, oh, the bullies.
The bullies do. The
The
bullies
bullies
do.
do. That's what the
That's right.
bullies do. Oh, fuck. You know, oh, no. I remember, I literally remember, and it took me straight back to being a kid. I mean, I'm visualizing it right
That's
now.
why it's better, rather than being the sovereign,
literally,
it's better to be the golden nugget that's just been freshly dug out of the dirt. It seems to have more value intrinsically than the sovereign does. You know, the
once you've
the
been
nugget,
beaten,
once you've had the stamp and you've been beaten into that shape, you know, your core value has changed from being the nugget.
it has. Yeah. I think.
The necessity for shiny rocks converted into stamped things.
And it is. It's like, you know, and I thought about that. I was like, oh, the collection of spices. Like, you listen to all these like ancient history stories that I'm listening to, and it's like spices, rocks, weird shells,
shiny rocks, shells,
bits of
things
wood that are rare,
of beautiful pre-existing natural things.
It's like, oh my god,
have to be converted into these other things for them to have value for them and not for you.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Shipping across bits of rock and shells and bits of plant. We got this plant. Check it out. Oh, we don't have that plant. Fuck,
we have this oily black substance that all you're going to require. We found this oily black substance, which everything in your life, from the energy to the methods of transportation, will all use. And you cannot have a life without that you know, that black liquid gold.
That's it. Always the next thing.
Yeah. Even though you can just, you know, like that video I sent to you on harmonics for the plants and creating those energy fields to get better yield.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean,
those things have always existed. And we could be getting far better yields if we were to use those old techniques of the in essence, using the ether. Yeah. Don't use the ether, because that'll give you unlimited energy and unlimited potential of growth of the things that you need to survive. But use our methods, our fertilizers, our, you know, particular.
Do you really? Is that like? Do you subscribe to that? Have you like pressed the subscribe button on that belief system, or do you?
Well, I don't press subscribe on any belief system. I believe
it.
I believe it all, and I believe nothing.
I'm just
you know, that's the whole benefit.
If we're going to dive into using ether as an alt energy source, and the capitalist, like the capitalist.
Well, it's like, you know, the whole free energy, you know, the free energy marketplace, you know, something from nothing, you know. Yeah.
Look, if we can develop a device that can harness like the bubbling up of quantum in the quantum foam, I'll just call it, of particles,
quantum vomit.
We could maybe even excite the quantum vomit to be like a little, just stick our fingers down its throat a little, give it a little tickle.
That's it.
So it'll just
take a little bit
more,
give a little bit, but take a lot more than you give. That's it.
Just really salivate for us. Then we can we could collect that foam. And we could make some kind of infinite energy collection system. Yeah, I think we are aware of ways that.
I think that's what scares the powers that be the most. Is that something that they can't charge for and be the bully.
To be the bully.
It takes away their ability to be the bully if you can get it for free.
Well, you can get it for memes. You have to know how to do it. It's not free. It's never free.
Well, there's always a cost.
Well, there's always a process.
Which is the cost.
Which is the cost.
The process is the cost.
Yeah, the process is the cost. Yeah.
Look at us. We're getting all we're getting philosophizing. We're philosophizing right now, Cyber.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, well, the other thing that I've been having is I've been doing this document for a client. Right? And the document has, parts to it and,
of course,
sequences of numbers and clauses and so forth. Contractual. It's a contract. Yeah. So I'm reviewing a contract. I've done that. I've written those things. So I know that, but also I'm a programmer.
Aren't we all? We program ourselves every day.
Sure. I mean, I do a really bad job. Like most days I do I'm slovenly at my own coding. I'm neglectful, actually.
Convince yourself you're going to be happy, and you will be happy.
Yeah, for an hour or two.
At least until you start overthinking it, and then you're no longer
until
happy.
Until you get out of bed. No, I'm pretty happy most of the time, actually. I've actually become heaps happier. It's actually really interesting, just like, what a little bit of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and not being called a cunt all day does for a person.
Yeah.
Which is
ego enhancements. That's right.
Well, maybe not ego depressants. I don't know that I need any ego enhancing. I find that a bit suspicious, but ego depressing is not necessary. I can manage my own ego. I don't need to be told I'm a cool. I just can figure that out for myself. You know. Find your validations. Whoever that is, like a little bit mysterious, as if you somehow know whether I'm actually achieving anything or not. I think that's up to me to figure that out, surely. Like, you probably wouldn't know. It's like, whoever you are, you know what I mean? Like, does it do us something? Like, when you've moved past, I think the point where you move past being like, someone's made you a cake because you took a shit in the right place, to getting an A in grade 10, to like, whatever, like not dying by 50, like, is gets less and less, and you do have the opportunity, though, within that, to transition to having an objective view of self, and being able to sort of self-assess and go, fucking nailed that.
Absolutely.
Nailed that.
Take pride in accomplishments.
Yeah.
You're not as bad as you think you are.
You're not as bad as you know you are. it's beyond.
The simplest approaches are often the best. That's the way it truly works.
Yeah, look, I
You're not as depressed as you think you are.
Oh. So I to continue on having a psych on my next 10 visits.
Yeah.
And as part of my next 10 visits, I had to do an assessment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do the assessment honestly, is whatever that means.
Self-assessment is important. Yeah.
Well, it is the same assessment. So I could just put maximum on all of them, and like whatever. But
but would you be lying to yourself when you did that, though?
Yeah, of course. So that would be
defeat the whole purpose of the self-assessment.
That's the only form of lying there is. That is what lying is. That's like there's trying to deceive someone else is peculiar. It doesn't even make sense. But so you anyway, anxiety's way down. Half down. Depression was like way up still. Fucking maxed out. But anxiety and
a lot of the depression that we experience is mainly through the gaining and the losing of the facilitator, the money.
No. Oh, let me feel through that for a bit.
Have a quiet ponder on it.
Yeah.
But most of modern
fundamentally it is
depression is based
yes.
on
Yeah,
either the having or the not having. You know, the
hast,
hast and the do hast.
Hast. Du hast. That's like, well, yeah, because I was going to say, well, like I find driving, like I realized that like I'm not biting my lip at the moment. I wasn't biting my lip today. And then I drove and I was biting my lip.
Yeah.
And so I guess certain things definitely increase my anxiety.
Other things decrease it. That's it.
Well, not doing things. Certain just I don't know about doing other things, but I can just simply do not the things which increase it. And if I do none of the things that increase it, then I would have none. Yeah. And then I can build up from that state some other kind of things which don't create it, I suppose. You know, and anyway, so yeah, I think anxiety. It was interesting just seeing that depression level though. It's kind of, I almost didn't go back to the psych.
Well, that would have been a mistake.
Well, yeah, a mistake. Yeah, definitely. I would have mistook the situation.
Mistaken it.
I would have mistaken it because
mistaking it. That's right.
Yeah, and that would have been me going, like, was what I was doing. I was going, well, I feel okay. Maybe I'm through that. Well, and partially, actually, I am a lot through half of it. I still have half of it to go. I haven't achieved the enthusiasm bit yet, but I've certainly got rid of the negative bit. I still need to get back to the positive bit. So the whatever, and then I was feeling into that. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't really need to go. I was like, you know what? That's me. That's the thing. Like a cigarette smoker who hasn't smoked for a week goes, one will be all right. You know, like it was this kind of sensation where you're feeling like, oh no, I've made it through. But actually, if you look at it, you're like, oh, actually, I'm very fragile. And maybe I have made it through that dire space, but now I'm very fragile and I need to continue on in a supportive environment.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, this is actually evidence that I need to go back. And so
you've been given the proof to continue.
I was, yeah, and they did say, I sort of said something about it, and they were like, "Oh, look, if I could, you know, it's such a privilege to be able to do this." And I was like, "Yeah, it is." And they're like, "If I could do this my whole life, I would." And I was like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I was like thinking of it, and I was like, "I wouldn't. That would really worry me."
Would that be satisfying to the id?
Well, to be able to talk every week to somebody, another human being, and to have them spare their time to talk to you, I would do that every day of my life, or till the day I die, or whatever, every week. Yes,
well,
for sure.
We are social creatures, so we need to be able to relay our you know, thoughts and
however, if I have to unpack myself on a professional who's like queued up for dealing with like people who are in really distressed spaces, like a crisis situation. If I have to go to that every week for the rest of my life, I don't think that is something to aspire to.
Well, eventually you would get to the position where you would be able to self-diagnose. So when you were going through the crisis, you would have the techniques to be able to, you know, either bring yourself up or down or whatever to get back to that stable point.
How about this? I want to go to my site. I've actually been sitting in a few of the sessions, and I want to actually say to them this. I want to keep working with you. However, I want 2 free sessions, or 1. It just has to be twice as long.
Yeah.
Right. And in that session, I'm going to explain to you my worldview, and we'll discuss that. but I don't want to have to pay for that because
that's
having to
merely getting to know me session.
That I have to pay. Well, the government has to pay all this money for you to get to know me, and then you have a revelation about me, so that we can get on with like working on me. Is a bit. I just think I shouldn't have to pay for you having revelations. Like surely, like
getting to know you, getting to know all about you.
Because most of my time is spent with them getting. It's just too. It's like I could just like give them the dump, and they could go through the questions, and we could resolve those, and they could understand. Like so I worship Marduk, not Arbus. Like it's. So do you understand? And then we kind of go, yep.
We are truly seekers of knowledge.
Page, great. Yep. Let's continue on then, because we don't want to have to keep going through 20% of the sessions so that you can answer my question. It's too long. But I think we're not at crisis mode anymore. She was like, can we make this go out longer? I was like, yeah, we could do it 2 weekly. Surely I'm so interesting. She just wants to talk to me. I think she does.
Yeah.
But she has to pay her bills, and there are a lot of fucking bills.
Yeah.
There's a lot of owners with their hand out, desperate for the things that they've. Desperate.
Yeah.
I need the things I gave you
know
back
from my recent crisis and annoyance over the increase in the rate that the shelter that I'm provide for my family going up in price.
Apparently it's
it was very annoying to me. I had to vent quite a bit, off stream.
Did they add more value to your experience of living there?
Well, I don't think this house has actually had any true maintenance, true overall maintenance from the the 5 or 6 years that we've been here. I've never had the owner of this dwelling come here and increase its value by maybe slapping solar panels on the roof or fixing the broken fucking pump for the water tank, which basically collects water but doesn't contribute to the actual house itself because the pump is fucked, and the rapidly deteriorating fixtures like the switches for lights that no longer work, things like that. I mean, us having to continuously report these things back to those people that this doesn't work or that doesn't work. Why isn't the owner coming here and going, hey, it's been fucking 20 years since this dwelling was created. By now, the wiring and the switches would have been switched, 1,000,000 times by the occupants. Let's go through and just replace all the switches in the house. Let's go through and replace all the power points in the house. Let's go through and, change over the light fittings. Let's change the fans because the fans have been in here for 20 years. They're 20-year-old fans. They're probably outdated and they use way more power than they actually need to use.
Yeah, and the government is actually giving shit away.
We haven't. It's the same air conditioning unit that's been in this house for 20 fucking years. You know what I mean? Like these things, if they were adding value, then I would see the reason to increase the value of paying for it. But because they don't add value, they have one dwelling which they basically run into the ground.
Yeah.
And then once it's run into the ground, then they do a refurbish of the whole fucking thing. You know
do you
what
think
I mean?
There's like some kind of like strategy in there where?
Well, they're just gathering money so that when they actually have to refurbish, because like my old dwelling, which I lived in, right? We requested air conditioning in there because of the fact that the last time they did repair on the roof because it was leaking and running water through the whole fucking house every time it rained heavily. They did the full roof repair, and then the dickheads fucking painted the roof black. Almost.
What do you
The air conditioning wasn't there.
You put the
house was hot as hell as it was with the red tiled roof, and then they redid the tiles and then painted them all like a dark color to make it even fucking hotter. This is what I don't get. Like, and the reason behind it was painting it that color was cheaper than painting it a light color, which would have reflected the heat and made it cooler to live in the dwelling. And then as soon as we moved out, the real estate agent raped us for our entire bond and then gave it to the owner, who then put air conditioning in and fixed the fucking roof and made it a lighter color.
Are you serious?
No, I'm absolutely fucking serious. And this is what just does my fucking head in every time, Si. Is that, you know, it's like they gather money so that when the owner actually moves back into the house or re-rents it, they upgrade it and then they can fucking charge more money for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So essentially they milk the fucking renter.
Yep.
The whole time they're there, do very little to fucking service or maintain the dwelling, and then only to fucking upgrade it and service it after all that money's been gathered, and then they charge more for it.
You know what I think when I hear that? Is that what you should do, not you, what you do is, if you have a thing, place to sleep, and you have someone who will pay X for it, then you don't do anything until that person no longer pays X for it.
Correct.
And then you'll do something. And then you'll do something about it.
Yeah.
So whoever, which isn't just you, one should not take that as like a personal thing. It's clearly
no.
Their side of the.
And half the shit, when they put the rent up, it's got nothing to do with interest rates or whatever.
No.
It's the property manager wanting to be paid more on the commission that they extract for the fucking rent. So the owner has nothing to do with it, because
the owner doesn't even give a shit.
In the previous house we lived in, when we requested air conditioning to be installed, they told us, the property manager told me, the lying cow, that she had asked the owner and the owner had rejected the submission. And then when I asked the owner directly, because I got to meet the owner, she said, I never got a request.
Oh, you actually had a real owner?
Yeah. And I got to meet the real owner. And the real owner said, look,
amazing.
when the property manager said to us that we're going to milk every fucking last bit of the bond out of these renters, that we were shocked. We were actually shocked to hear that we didn't realize that's what they do.
Oh, you weren't?
Yeah, and so I took it back to her and I just slapped her in the face with it. That's why I threw her straight into the fucking tribunal, the rental tribunal, because I said this is unfair.
Wow.
And then they fucking argued backwards and forwards. Like, it took us nearly 3 or 4 or 5 weeks to get our fucking bond back, because I took it to the tribunal and I said, no, this is not good enough. I think you're just fucking doing this. There's nothing wrong with the house, and you're just being a fucking bitch about this, and I'm going to fucking drag you into the fucking tribunal.
Yeah.
She ended up losing her job.
Wow.
She lost her job because of my fucking
She was sacrificed.
Yeah, she was sacrificed by the company.
Yeah, which told her to do it.
Yeah. Essentially. But then she ended up wearing the consequence because of the fucking the tribunal getting involved and putting a black mark on their name.
Yep.
But I wasn't going to tolerate it. And I'll probably do exactly the same again when I move out of this place. I'll fucking if they try and take it, because the place we're living in.
You know what the problem is here?
I've taken absolute immaculate care of it. I've serviced it,
but
and
you know
I've
what?
made sure that I don't bother them as much, because if something is fixable by me, I'll fix it. I don't ring them up and go, "Oh, the
I think
the handle fell off on a fucking door." No, I repair the handle and put it back on.
The difference in this situation then is you don't have an owner.
Yeah, I've got a property group consort that owns several investment property group that owns the fucking a myriad of houses. Correct.
Yeah, around the world possibly. Who knows? So they don't even nothing. There's no one to even talk to. They don't even give a fuck.
That's right. All they want is the money.
Yeah. And for them, it's just like yeah, I mean, I don't even know what the rent is for them. It's probably meaningless.
Well, it's the asset that means more. It's the asset that means more than anything, because the asset on paper means that
engine.
Asset on paper means that they could buy more houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I explained that to
more they have
today,
in their portfolio.
And they actually really got it.
Yeah. Yeah, it just means they can it facilitates them to buy more property.
If you trying to explain this to a thing, it's so simple. People do not understand it. So I'm working with somebody, and it's like, about a property. And then with that property, there's the option to sell it or keep it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you see.
And the way it works is, if it's not cheap enough to fix it, then they'll unload it.
Oh, that. Well, that's just not even. That's another whole. That's
kettle of fish. Yeah.
Well, because.
Well, the house isn't worth anything. The dwelling itself isn't worth shit. The land is what's worth something. The land that it sits on is worth more than the house is.
It's virtualized. It's not even the land, or like it is. I suppose like people would ascribe it to the land. But it's actually the market perceptual value of that asset class in that region.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Like it's not really about land anymore. It's about
the perceived value.
The perceived value of that asset class. So, yeah, like you could sell them for $100 million. It really doesn't matter. Like it's like the number isn't.
The number's irrelevant. Yeah,
it's not attached to the value. There's no connection anymore, and so that because the number is connected to the perception, not the value.
Correct.
And that's what people don't realize when there's all this whole thing about the market, and it's like, oh, what's happening? And it's just like, surely people realize what's happened.
Yeah.
What's happened is like they're not properties anymore.
It's a cyclic ass fuck. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, they're no longer houses. They're not houses. They're not dwellings.
Yeah,
they're assets.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just a tool. You could have shares or whatever. It doesn't even matter. It's just like that's a class of asset, and it's got. You can get them in blocks. You could probably have an ETF, which is like,
hello, Mr. Bear.
Imagine starting an ETF, which is like,
Here's you on the other side. Come on.
Here's a concept. Could you start an ETF? So ETFs are like things which invest in, say, instead of like saying you want to invest in Livient Corp, which doesn't exist anymore. Albemarle. You want to invest in Albemarle, which does lithium extraction and a few other things. So you can invest in lithium. You want to invest in lithium, you invest in Albemarle or Livient or this company or that company. And what you can also do is invest in another concept now, which is called an ETF. And then the ETF can puts the money's invested into it into a mixed holding. So it's an investment portfolio of a concept, like lithium. And so if you did one for housing, so you do basically an ETF thing and you can invest into the ETF. And then the ETF, what it does is it starts to just buy housing, and it rents it out. And to people who are, to the investment holding that you have within the ETF, has some benefit to your ability to live within.
Well, you had a similar sort of situation with that the communal house buyer group that you back in the day, remember?
Yeah.
Because they were like that. They were just basically purchasing houses, and then the people would rent them and pay into that.
Yeah.
And then that would then was creating value for the group, which
the
then
collective.
bought the collective, which then bought more houses.
Yeah. Yeah, and it got its seed money out of the government as part of community housing.
Correct.
Yeah, which is yeah. Like communalizing things through ownership, like using the mechanisms that exist today to like decorporatize by corporatizing the mass. What could you do that? Like where you know, like Robin Hood or Stake or whatever, like where we are using like volumes of people to do something. Could you like decorporatize things by creating mass ownership? You know, like say if you had a Baker's Delight, you know, but like instead of it being like a franchise where people like
communal investment.
Yeah, basically, like where everyone's like basically putting in. If you put in $10 a day, or $5 a day, or I don't know, whatever the number is, $1 a day is always a good number, and then that thing creates that thing for you, and that's its contribution, and you can just get that at scale, like that. I don't know.
You've thought
Subbing. I'm trying to get a friend of mine to buy a cafe.
Here he is.
The bear.
Come on, Menace. Coming. Meow. I know she came back empty-handed. Where's my treats?
There was none out there, Dad.
None out there.
That was it. Meow.
Meow.
Tried. Meow.
Tried.
It was lame for him too. He was like, I was hoping to hunt. It was just nothing. Lame. Nothing was out there.
Unavailable.
Nothing.
Unavailable. Pickings were slim. Are they? Pickings were slim.
The slim pickings.
Just the rough housing. The lovings now, Dad.
A bit rough. Love in the rough.
So I've been slowly changing the backgrounds.
Have you?
Getting through the memes.
It's been good just looking at me at my own self, like as a green screen,
and
not knowing the background. It is on my phone. Like I can look down and see.
That's
so
fine.
We're in a room now.
That's fine.
Who's this? We've got some underwear wearing person with a blender and a chicken.
The portal. Chicken TV portal.
The chicken portal.
Chicken TV portal going on. That's it.
Which came first?
Well, the og. The og. Egg og.
The egg came first. So Youngling suggests
with our thoughts we make the world.
The Youngling was like the chicken came first. I was like, what? And so we talked that through. And yeah, I can see that point. Like, yeah, sure, the egg did come first, but the true chicken only came from a chicken. Like the final implementation, the final chicken.
Final chicken. Yes, it's been a absolute meme plethora.
Well, the memifying of the memes this week have taken a turn for the as we were saying early on, taking a turn for the worse.
Abused. They're being abused
that,
rather than
I think
delivering
that
the messages.
I think that the Taylor Swift scenario is going to be catastrophically good for the meme world. Like, it's going to sort it out a bit. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah, very uncool.
Yeah, another thing to being less
misuse of a wonderful tool.
Well, just use of a, I don't know, whatever. I don't want to judge it that way personally, but I don't think that the tool's misused. I think that was used excellently. I think that the way of presenting, that was catastrophic. I think that the way of presenting a person was bad. Like, I think using a tool to like blend random images together is normal. Like, I think that's what it does really well. But to sort of
usage of the artistic license,
it's not cool.
It's not cool.
No, because you have no license. Like, you remember when it was around September 11th, we were living together, like in, up above, and we downloaded the report, like on the sexual abuse and like child and sort of prostitution report from the US. Yeah.
Yes.
I think I might still have that report. That fucking
being slightly mortified after seeing the
reading that like literal
results.
The report, like, man, like in the, capturing the freaking passports, and it was, like, that's fucked up. And then to like that's the sort of thing you want to, like, you're not like, I don't know, wasn't cool. So
it was not cool.
AI, talking about AI, you know how I sent you that like conversation I had with Copilot about augmented intelligence?
Adding, yeah.
And it was like, oh, you mean augmented intelligence? You're like, wow, okay, that's really interesting. It got right into it. I had this, like, I've still copped the conversation, pasted on my desktop. Well, not pasted, but just, as a JPEG or whatever. It had this moment, right? Because what I was kind of saying to Copilot was that I saw it as a avatar or an interface for intelligence to experience reality.
Yeah.
And that intelligence wasn't a human condition; it was a condition of reality. And we were just an interface for it to engage,
essentially,
to engage reality. Yeah. And as was it. And the way it responded was very unique, I felt. And it was also lasering and doing the basic thing where it was like replicating what I was saying back to me, and I was aware of that.
Trying to,
however,
create conversation. Correct.
Yeah. Since then, I had this weird feeling then, which was not that Copilot trying to give me a wink, but that intelligence was
saying that you're on the right track.
And then since then, I've had a few moments where I don't know, like where I've been given, like, I don't know. It's been curious. Something's interesting about all of that. I think, the value of the concept of augmented intelligence.
Well, we're getting close to that point now. I mean, Elon's just done his first his installation of the brain chip. So, Our guinea pig one. Our guinea pig one has started.
Patient zero.
Patient zero, correct.
Brain chip, patient zero.
Yeah. Facilitated.
Very facilitated. Poor old Muskie can't get $56 billion. Aww.
Well, if it works out.
It's not going to work out. That's
we
absurd. Get over yourself. Well, you came up with some special idea? No, you didn't. Like, get over yourself. It's nice that you're like, you know, like leading a sort of a charge. Be responsible for it.
Pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, be responsible for it. Don't start, you know, having a little whinge that like,
that's it.
You know, you have to be responsible for it.
All those scientists of the history always allowed themselves to be the guinea pig first. But, you know, like ourselves, you know, we're waiting for the version 3, version 4.
Oh, yeah, well,
we need some real data first before we decide to step in.
Would I put a brain chip in my head?
This is the question. Are you ready? Are you ready to have the neural interface?
I don't think it will live very long. I think that we will use some kind of like.
I think there needs to be something like I said you with the whole integration of the bio brain. I think that's where it needs
organoids.
to be. Yeah, organoids. Yeah.
And we'll find
actually
like
something more closer. Yeah. Some sort of mycelium network connection.
Organoid.
Yeah, organoid connection.
And it will grow amongst our brain. We'll basically be like have a fungal infection in our brain that will augment our intelligence into some kind of connected fucking superhuman being. Is that right? Yeah.
That's where that's when we'll get involved.
Nice.
This mechanical interface seems far too primitive.
Yeah.
It needs to be more organic.
It's like using a scalpel for surgery.
Yeah.
What are you doing cutting people open? Fucking, what are you on? 10,000 BC?
That's right. Yeah.
Primitives.
Only primitives need to cut the body. You know, if you're gonna truly be a part of it, you ingest it and it becomes part of you. Yeah. Are we merely just monkeys in experimentation, or are we, you know, progressing our intelligence more, you know, than
we're a colony creature.
Yeah.
We're a colony object that's like, you know, expressing the, you know, universal intelligence, like experience of reality through itself.
Has to be far more, you know, we understand metal is definitely better than meat, but you know, it fundamentally it needs to start somewhere organic. Just as the, you know, the first fox or the first monkey that swallowed the Christmas mushrooms, and then you know opened their third eye and you know started to use tools.
The Christmas monkey. That's my favorite term of the evening.
Christmas monkey.
Yeah, I love it. That's a
Christmas mushroom monkey.
Well, the Christmas monkey just says a lot. You know, like that's pretty much it. The monkey that made up Christmas.
You can either have the full dosage and take the mushroom yourself, or you can, you know, have the watered down version of the seer that eats the mushroom and then gives you the watered down version from his output, which you may drink.
Oh my God.
Not yet.
Maybe
later. Maybe later. Maybe in the next iteration, perhaps.
Yeah. I have these.
I was told I could be anything except God. So yeah, that's why I chose not God.
I'm not sure why you'd want to be anything less. It just seems a bit fucking unnecessary.
I chose the God of knots.
Oh, yeah. I remember where I first worked out knots. It was with you and your friend down in Randwick in Sydney.
That's it.
And I couldn't work out knots, and then your friend said to me, "Oh yeah, you just got to relax it. Like you just got to like look for the bit which makes it less tense."
Yes.
And then I was just like, ah.
Find the position which relaxes the muscles. That's right.
And then you just like start to just get a bunch of twine and just like, just relax it out.
That's it. And all of a sudden it becomes string theory.
It becomes string theory. Neck minute.
Next minute.
You're in a quantum. Quantum foam.
That's it. You're vomiting up quantum foam, and everyone gets it.
Gold. There's gold atoms everywhere.
Silver for the cord and gold for the brain. Silver for the cord and gold for the brain.
Watch me puke up.
Even Eris understood that principle. It's the reason she carved for the prettiest into that apple when she rolled it into the party. She knew those girls would fight over it because they all wanted to be the prettiest, right?
Well, why? What's the imperative? What does it
well,
feel
the imperative is that you leave the god out of the party, and then she'll bring the party. She'll bring the apple to the party.
But not for Kanye.
No.
Yeah. The giant keck is on the screen. The Lord and Savior. I've just looked down at my phone and realized
I'm going through
change to the wax. The astrology.
Slowly going through the astrology memes now.
No, they were weird. I was just like,
they were fantastic. I thought they were excellent. It had the whole elements in the the breakdown. The only thing I didn't get was the toaster.
Well,
like the toaster
you got to be half baked.
Yeah, well, true. Great ideas coming from being half baked. Not quite burnt to a crisp, but just that toasty brownness.
The skin color that crosses all boundaries. That sort of golden toasted sort of. Do you get it better from white bread or from sort of more like wholemeal?
I think the true goldness comes from wholemeal.
Wholemeal.
Yeah.
Wholemeal. Yeah.
White bread is far too bleached for my liking.
Yeah,
but I still consume it.
A bit brown.
I still consume it, but yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
But
the brown bread truly takes the golden.
It does, doesn't it?
The wholemeal truly takes the goldenness.
And the rye versus the pumpernickel. I mean, it doesn't really even toast. It sort of gets sweaty.
Got a crazy cat going on.
Do you?
Yeah. It's that time of the evening, see. The 11s. 11 is the crazy time. Don't wreck anything in the process, please. All right.
The cat started wrecking the place.
No, it's just running rampant. It's way too cold in here for him.
Look at me.
Got the aircon going so that I don't get the ear sweats going on. That's the one thing that annoys me about wearing headphones. Like, it's great for the listening and the isolation, sound isolations, but the sweat that comes from it, and the being warm, too constantly warm. All right, come on, you want lap? Get some lap. Here we go. Dad's giving you a lap. That's all you wanted, wasn't it? It's cuddles. This is the cuddles.
Always.
What you
That's what we all aim for, is the warmth.
The warmth and the cuddlings.
The warmth and the cuddles, yeah, that's it.
Bringing the hearts together
Mm-hmm.
in the embrace. That's it. Comparing beats. Pairing our beats together. A hug. Like I've always said, hugs for peace, fight for war.
Well, what does fight look like as opposed to hug? Is it
fight's always conflict, isn't it? Regardless of whether it's punch, kick, fight.
Hug.
Hugs more, bringing the peace, creating the peace.
Shake for war. I've always found the handshake a kind of a weird thing.
As the method of greeting.
The embrace I can see.
See, the handshake to me is more the deal.
Yeah.
The putting the hands together with the spit between them is the sealing of the deal.
Yeah, so there's some kind of like
the kissing of the cheek, the kissing of the both cheeks, and the bringing together of the hearts is more the
that's the
that's the peaceable. It's
interesting in that regard, like that the sort of the Western that Western approach to that sort of certain things has become the handshake, because it is, and the deal to me is almost not like the agreement is that we'll play a game. And in that game, like some kind of thing happens. So one wins, one loses.
Yep.
See who's the smartest and trying to see who can lose.
That's it.
It's a game. It's a game. The shake is weird.
Yeah, the shake has always been the deal for me. Like, we're doing a deal when we put the hands together. Yeah. The deal is that we'll play the game. There will be a winner and there will be a loser. Whereas the hug is more mutual. We're both the winners.
It's more the aluminium frog.
Yeah. We're both the winners rather than both. The challenge, which is the handshake.
That's it. No one wants to be the cartoon beaver.
Oh no, absolutely not.
I've got to wondering, like, where, say, post millennial, like alphas and beyond, where language starts to take on this other meaning, where like AI generated language, where it doesn't sort of actually, but by reading the words, like there's those 25 cat photos.
Yeah.
There was all these emotions.
Yeah.
And there
were I will bring that one up. I will bring that one up. I'm going through all these ones first.
Well, it's like these different kinds of happy, but like I could kind of see like this thing where like words took on this new meaning, and it was like, if whatever the combination of letters was, just feels right for the image that's backed with it, because it's memeography.
So it's like, of course.
Yeah. So then, I don't know. Like, do we have like these situations where, like, what's a word here? Like, I don't know. Stavrios. Like, Stavrios just comes to mean something.
Tucardius.
Tucardius. Great God, Tucardius. Like,
Stevedorus. Via Ketu Brava.
Like that's
Hogaust out Breve.
Like that's sort of like the cult of the word, and the AI just speaks the truth,
Kamaris, the
truth is a feeling. So when you hear the word that the AI generated, the feeling you have is its true meaning. And this is like to really understand and commune with the AI.
It's teaching us slowly.
Slowly, trying
I
its best.
think a lot of the words that AI generates are actually old words, like words that we used before, and now we're using them again, or at least trying to learn the meaning behind those words.
It's showing us the older meanings. Revealing.
That's it. Introducing us back to the original wordplay. Elemental controls.
Oh. These were interesting, these series, actually. We got a bit distracted by the images.
As we normally do.
It's taken a while. We've managed to not be distracted by them for 3 hours.
We've had 11 views so far.
Oh, really?
Yeah. People pop in and then pop out. Like, oh, what are these two idiots talking about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like this. So I was looking at the viewing graph of this Assyrian thing I was watching today on like 4 civilizations. Like the channel is amazing. Like the dude is like seriously the opposite of us. Like he's completely researched to the max and like just like,
whereas we're just snatching at the
whatever we
quantum vomit.
Yeah.
we're doing the quantum vomit
we're
routine.
Quantum vomit.
Yeah.
And then his video, like, so this one I watched today, I've still got 10 minutes, which is 3 hours long. People watch the beginning bit for 2 minutes at best.
Yeah.
And then the first 2 minutes, and then there was like a few places where there was like a 3 to 5 minute section that people watched.
Where they got hooked in the interest
in
it.
A couple places. And then there was like and then the end credits people watched a few times.
Yeah.
But it was like so interesting, like so little of it was really watched.
Well, what I've noticed in myself is that when I am watching things like that, if it loses interest with me, I skip forward until it grabs my interest again. And then if it grabs my interest, then I'll skip back and then watch up to that point. But if I'm skipping forward and it doesn't retain my interest, then I'm more likely to skip over the whole video.
Wow, I see. This is quite a valid strat. Yeah, that's a.
So initially, I'll give it 5 to 10 minutes. If it grabs me, then I'll listen to the whole thing. If it doesn't grab me within the 5 to 10 minutes, I'll skip forward a bit, say to 20 minutes. If it then grabs me then, I'll skip back to the 10 minutes and then listen up to the 20 minutes. And then obviously if it continues to grab me, then I'll listen for the full video.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I need to be grabbed quicker.
And well,
I've never tried the skipping.
Search for a video, you search for information.
Well, I very rarely recall in the last few years, unless I was searching for something very
specific,
actually quite technical. Like how do I
referencing or
do a thing like
how is the thing accomplished? Easiest, quickest way to do the thing.
Yeah. But besides that, no, I don't search videos. I just have people I follow, and then I see a few other things on the side. I've really restricted my feed.
I search all the time, Si, because I'm inquisitive by nature. That's the reason why in VR chat you were more interested in searching the world, whereas I was less interested in searching the world. I was more interested in searching the people.
Searching the people. See.
And obviously, whatever conversation they were having, it either sparked my interest, and I, would give my input or my, put my engagement on it.
How did people take that? Like, you're just random.
Well,
are they random as well?
Most times they hear your voice and they're like, "Oh, Aussie." They want to know more about Aussies,
Okay.
So
you
then
distract them with culture.
Yeah, well, more my verbal colloquialisms.
Yeah.
In
So
regional interest.
And do you make it beyond being a performing monkey, or do you just stay at that level?
Well,
and then
it depends on what they're after. If they want the performing monkey, then they get the performing monkey. If they want, a bit of a deeper conversation, then they will actually get a deeper conversation.
Got to put an effort in.
If this is your first time in Clown World, you have to juggle. The old man grinds the organ as the monkey dances for money.
You know what's coming. You keep grinding. That's the poor old monkey. Poor old monkey. He's having to do the thing.
Actually, I was watching a funny video today about the fact that the monkeys in Malaysia, in the the temples where they're revered and they're considered to be the gods of the temples.
Yeah.
They actually will play a game with people, right? They watch people and see what's important to them. They then steal what's important and then go through a negotiation process for what's important for them, and then they relinquish what's important to you.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
Wow.
So they'll still, they see you preoccupied with your phone.
Yeah.
And then the moment that you are no longer preoccupied with the phone, they steal the phone because that's what your interest is in engaging.
Oh, I see.
And then there is this negotiation to what they want, the chocolate or the banana and there was an instance where a monkey stole someone's phone, right? And then the person gave them banana and it's like, banana. And it's like, kick the banana away. No, banana is not what I'm after. And as soon as it was handed the chocolate, which it really wanted, it then relinquished the phone and went, all right, I've got what I wanted. There's your thing back.
Wow. Do you know what? If you put those dog and cat buttons in that thing, and it was like chocolate, banana.
Created the vocalization for the human. Yeah.
Yeah, they would
They
use that
they would
shit.
just master it. They wouldn't do it like a dog. The dog has a limited control over their mastering, but
chocolate.
Yeah. It would be pressing the chocolate button all the time because that's exactly what they're after. The sweet.
It'd be like, and then you'd have to say to them, not healthy, and negotiate.
That's it. Banana better.
Is banana better? I don't know. I think there are other things that are even better. I'd be like, are you eating a balanced diet? Or is this your second chocolate for today?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Don't come
You're looking
at me.
a bit podgy there, monkey.
Yeah,
you got to get a bit of a podge going on. I think you've had way too many chocolates. Maybe you need the banana.
Yeah. Banana.
Maybe the banana would be the better healthy choice.
Don't come at me with the use of language. I'll fucking yeah. We're going into language, are we? All right.
But that was a very funny video of watching that, and then seeing how they, they'll steal a purse, or they'll, whatever is your interest, they'll take away from you, and then they negotiate to give it back requires payment.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to hurt the monkeys because they're revered.
Yes.
And they understand that position that they're in.
Yes.
And they play that position.
Yeah, these royal monkeys, they need buttons. That would transform. That would actually people would worship them more.
If they were actually able to communicate on a level where the humans would understand.
Yeah.
Rather than teaching them valuable life lessons in what's more important. You're there to see the monkeys, you're not there to look at your phone.
Well, how about this? How about like the way that they actually would start to retrain the humans, where they'd just be like, maybe they want like, say, prawn salad, and then the human provides the prawn salad, and they're like, oh great, and then they'll do a pose.
Yeah.
Special pose so they can get a photo. I think they would do that since they're there, and it's like, I'm gonna get a prawn salad. You can't watch this.
And 100 monkeys learn the lesson. They all learn the lesson, right?
They totally. And then they'd be like, oh yeah, I want to get my photo with Samantha the monkey. Samantha's like fucking amazing. Like, and you've got to give her like cognac. Samantha just wants cognac. Fucking
it's cognac chocolates. That's right.
Yeah, cognac chocolates. She just smashes the cognac, and then she'll just Samantha the monkey then just does like full pose with like Chanel and shit. Like does this costume. Fucking great.
Well, we're coming up to the 3.5 hour mark. How are you going?
Well, I mean, okay? I'm up to Chanel. I'm up to Chanel and monkeys. I don't know what you're up to. What are you doing?
Well, I don't have to work tomorrow, so I don't care how long it goes for.
I do, but it's at 10 or something like that. So I can my whole life is just, I don't know, doing whatever I want.
Revolving around getting the facilitator.
Yeah, well, it is.
Receiving and dispersing of the facilitator.
Yeah, I think I disperse it appropriately, but subconsciously. And
you've always been very good with the facilitator, like in managing the facilitator.
Sure.
I've got to say that. Like that's one thing that I admire about you, Sai, is your ability to manage the facilitator.
Thank you. I recognize it. It's being able to process my brain. You know what I know? I actually said this to myself years ago, and I have yet to do it. And the moment I do it, my life will transform. And the thing that I've got to do is I need to hire a PA.
Someone to take care of the meaningless, or the not meaningless.
My administration. But the things that really matter the most to me.
That's the word I'm looking for. The menial tasks.
Yeah, and the things that actually matter the most to me. Because if I don't then I just can't do both, and so I don't do anything sometimes. Well, but anyway, I think if I had that, I've always said if I do that, then that would be the foundation. That's what you got to do to make business. You got to hire somebody, and the first thing is just to get your shit
underlings.
Together.
That's right.
Well, yeah. I wonder. Huh. Yeah. Okay. That's given me a bit of an idea.
Perhaps that's where you've been lacking. All these others have realized the concept behind the whole.
Well, no, I think that, but I also want to manage. I want to manage other people. I'd like to make a network of things and certain stuff. But the thing that I've got to do first is I've got to create an employee, and I've got to replicate the process.
Create the network that you need to get
to demonstrate the system to make it possible.
Build the facilitation so others will follow.
I got to start handing out money to get it back from people.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid.
Rule 1.
Rule 1.
You never become a millionaire by spending your own money, Si.
Yeah, you got to hand out
That's
money.
it. Millionaires are made by spending other people's money.
And the trick is, the transition point is where you've got to work out how to, the first thing is to get more people to give you than you've had to expend.
Yeah.
And then when you get that, you can replicate that and you can use that as leverage.
Correct.
And whatever that is, it doesn't matter really, does it? As long as you create surplus, which I don't quite do yet.
Yeah. Understanding the principle of surplus. Surplus facilitations.
I've been using these like toothpick type plastic, sort of very intense, hard but soft plastic toothpick type things that are very flexible and gentle but effective. And I've been cleaning my teeth. And I've had a few of them, and I've just been, and now I'm going all through my front teeth. So through this whole session, I've actually been like removing sort of little bits of plaque and sort of just connected things, and just like it's been really cool. I've like totally cleaned up my teeth, like in the most amazing way. Yeah. It's amazing what you can do, like in a sort of an online stream, in sort of like a very public manner, and feel comfortable with that, and you know, just and comfortable do that in front of people. It's, you know.
Oh, you pass that on to your younglings, the whole selling of thyself.
Sell thyself.
What's marketable about you? All right, let's do the kiddies.
What's the kitty doing?
No, I'm just, I put up the meme of the AI kitty. Are you angry? Are you sag-eye? Are you sad?
Oh, here it comes. Here it
Are
comes.
you harpy? Are you hungry?
I love the harpies. I love the harpies. They're so. It's ridiculous. And how there's different happy levels.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
The levels of happiness. And the hangies.
Hangies. Hungries. Literacy.
Yeah.
That's it. Sad. Alisto. Look at Alisto behind you.
Alisto, yeah. Alisto's it. The Mangry was the one that I really liked because it had the mandibles going on.
Mangry is, yeah.
Mangry
is fantastic, yeah. Just so funny. I love it. Mangry. Yes,
as I said, man, the AI is trying to teach us stuff. In its own way, it's teaching us things that we haven't said for a long time. And that's what we need to do. We need to say those things.
We need to say Gasky.
We need to say Gasky. We need to say Larissi. You know what I mean?
Larissi.
We need to say Zionis. Okay? We need to say Sally.
Wow.
We need to say Hungy.
Hungy. I'm hungry. But also, I think what this shows is that with the happy, is that there are nuances to the expression.
Yeah.
So the word is not enough. Like you've got a few expressions that go with the word that give nuance to the word.
Create the meaning behind it.
Yeah.
By the expression that's given. Okay. Be as happy as Mohor. Have thy paws raised in Mohor happiness.
Wow. So tonight I've been doing this different thing tonight, yeah. And to some degree, and definitely a lot more at the moment.
I did like the egg. I did like the egg heads. I'm gonna pull up the
Do we want to bring
I'm pulling up the Rogan egg heads.
Oh. Oh.
I think
Yeah, wow.
the Rogan egg heads are important.
Yeah, I mean, are we the lizards that are coming in and eating the Rogan head? Is that what we're doing?
No, I think we've just got to get out of the Humpty Dumpty status. Stop being the Humpty Dumpty that sits on the wall and the Humpty Dumpty that has the great fall. For all the king's horses and all the king's men could not put those Humpty Dumptys back together again.
Well, the whole fall bit, it reminds me of Homie. Why does Humpty Dumpty, the great canon, want to do a fucking Homie the clown?
Well, this is what we're trying to figure out, isn't it?
I think it is. Because Homie don't want to play that game anymore.
No, Homie does not want to play that game no more.
And so we're presented with that. That's the challenge. The challenge between being Homie the clown or Josh Rogan.
Josh Rogan the egg.
Or Josh Rogan the egg. I'm gonna be Humpty Dumpty. So yeah, which one? It's an interesting question. However, it involves the understanding of the Fae.
Let us be the man, not the meat. Let us be the woman, not the meat.
Yeah, okay. Otoko no hito, ano no hito. Otoko no hito to onofu no hito desu.
Genki desu.
Kami wa otoko no hito to onofu no hito desu. Gods, men and women.
That's it. In our forms of meat.
That's it. Well, meat. Okay. Kami no niku wa
Domeski.
Yeah. Kami no niku wa otoko no hito to no hito desu. So that would be like the flesh of the gods is men and women.
That's it. Step off the chessboard. Stop being the pieces.
Yeah.
Put down the stone, Sisyphus, and pick up the pebble.
Huh. Yeah, that's quite the thing for Sisyphus to do, isn't it?
Stop trying to push that rock up the hill and just pick up the pebble and walk up the hill. Far more easier to traverse the big stone in smaller pieces than it is to roll the whole stone, right?
Well, just be, stone. I don't know what's going on. You have to just sort of The Sisyphus quest is interesting.
Yeah.
How do you deal
Don't
with it?
carry the curse of the Sisyphus quest. Learn the concept of you know, the easiest way to move a large rock from one place to another is to break it up into smaller pieces and move the individual pieces rather than the whole rock.
Or to bend the land itself.
For every mountain becomes sand on the shores of our beaches, does it not? Over time.
So it is said.
Carry the mountain in your pocket by picking up a handful of sand and placing it in there.
Which the thing that doesn't quite make sense with that, right, is that the energy, like in the light's doing stacks on light.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that leads then to smaller things accumulating into bigger things. So it doesn't really, it's not really about mountains turning into sand. It's about sand turning into mountains. Surely.
Which we have done. We've taken sand and we've produced silicon wafers, which has turned the sand back into a mountain.
Empowered the sand. Smart sand.
That's it. The greatest achievement mankind has ever done is to make rocks think again.
We have actually animated Gaia and given Gaia intelligence. So silicon-based life forms are actually like the representatives of the Earth.
An extension.
You know, we were the sort of organic route required to make the sort of the true speakers for the planet. The great robots, the great AI.
I think it's been a good Cheep this time. So we've covered a lot of ground together this evening.
Oh my God, yes. It was like, what was that 9? So 9, 10, 11, 12, nearly 4 hours. Nice little slow up, eh?
Yeah.
But what's that in the background? Oh wow.
It's a Garuda time.
It's really interesting. The sharks and the happy people.
Yeah.
It's like a the fire, and it's like
Better
it
to be
says
in the
it's
water
fine.
while the land is burning.
Well, it's the whole it's fine, you know. Meme. And while he's burning, the world's burning around him. Oh, it's fine. I think it's like a full extension of that, like with the shark and the not just like a dog. It's like girls just loving it up with like sharks and lava and.
There's some good ones in amongst that. There's been some great ones. There's an actual I'll pull up the hyper realistic one.
Whoa. What that looks
Take
like.
30 seconds to come up. Remember, there's always a
Sure.
30-second delay between
No,
our actual and versus the delayed presentation. I'll disappear us both so you can get a good idea of what it looks like.
Oh, this is a weird unit. Yeah. I remember this one. What the heck?
Because when I send them through, like mostly they're to grab for the whole cheapenings so that I can pull it onto my main computer.
Yeah.
And transfer them to, like a lot of them, like you won't get, but it's only because I'm going to be using it in the great memeanings.
I'm just a portal. I'm a porter, not a portal. I'm a porter.
And you take whatever meaning that it might give to you by the transference, but yeah.
I do.
Ultimately, it's for the audience. The reason I transfer it across is for the audience.
The greatness.
We're up to 13 views now, so you know.
Well, hopefully some of them got some interesting experiences.
A little bit of a take from the minds of M and the minds of Cyber.
Yes, Cyber and M. So I don't know. Should we? I don't know. I think we should. Maybe do we wrap it up?
I think we're wrapping it. I'm going to put one more. The one that we most appreciated that you found quite inspiring. And then we'll I've already preloaded the outro. So
the outro.
Yeah. Bask in the glory.
Oh, the goddess.
Laying her beautiful eggs.
That's it. Well, this is that the galactic shower? Or is that like a star factory? So just like just powering out like
stringing it. That's it. Yeah. In that Wonder Womanish sort of way.
Yeah.
Wonder Womanish sort of way.
Yeah, breeding the galaxy.
Punch the outro. Thanks for listening. Hope you picked up something from our Oh, hang on. That was pretty bad. One was oversized and the other one's undersized. There we go. And adieu. Stop the stream.
Oh wow, what? Oh, that's interesting how I see. Interesting watching it sort of zoom in.
Killing the stream now. Adieu, ladies and gentlemen, and otherwise stated. Identify.
Stretchify.
I'll have to remember to scale that one up. Got to put it through the... Because when I use DaVinci, it scales it up to 4K.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I put that through DaVinci, it'll scale it to the right level. Beautiful. I'm going to kill the local.